Hello. Welcome. It is Sunday. It is time for some Warhammer Sunday goodness. Yes, welcome. If you've not seen one of these before, I normally, of a weekend, work on my own personal Warhammer army, the unending forces of the Holy Contrivance, a Principality of Xeon-themed Warhammer Imperial army, hence the logo with the Warhammer thing and the Xeon thing. But I've taken a bit of a break from that, because I've got a massive backlog of things I need to build and get put in the cabinet. Just waiting for paint maybe 6 months down the line, because I'm running out of space for all these boxes, so I've planned. I'm just going to go ahead and build a lot of Warhammer stuff, so I can get rid of the boxes and the packaging, put the primed built model in the cabinet, and then come back to it later in the year and paint it. So today we're continuing to work on our Stormcast Eternal, one of these two on the Shouty space. Yeah, it's a Shouty space horse. I call it Shouty because it's kind of going roar with its face there. Roar. I could have it with a closed face. I don't know. It kind of looks cool with the closed face. It's almost smiling. It's going har, but this one's going roar. So yes, we're going to be carrying on building this. I got this far last week. I did off camera glue the legs on and cleaned up a couple of seam lines, but that's as far as I got. So we're going to carry on with this week. Like I say, my plan is I've got quite a few boxes and things sitting around, and because space is at a premium right now, I'm having to just build some stuff to get rid of the packaging. And the advantage of Warhammer stuff is that you can kind of build the majority of it and only have maybe a couple of sub-assemblies, and then you can prime it and put it to one side. It's ready for paint then. Not all kits can do that, like a tank build or something, or a plane build or something else might not work, or a gunpla, although you can build it and take it apart again. But something like these, you can build the majority of it and then just put it to one side. So I can get rid of the packaging, so that's my plan. So over the next, coming weeks, we're going to be doing a lot of building but not painting, just to get things done, because I'm running out of space to have everything. So yes, we're going to be cutting things off sprues. We are going to be sanding and denubbing and assemblating. So far I've got the body and the two back legs. And he's like, rawr, I'm a dragon, rawr. It's Shouty space horse. There you go. And it is Age of Sigmar. And Dave wasn't here last week either. He's not here when I'm actually doing Age of Sigmar. Dave, I'm channeling to you. Dave, where are you? Dave likes his Age of Sigmar, you see. So yes, we're going to be doing this. If you've not seen one of these before, it's basically just 3 hours of me waffling away to you guys and doing a little tiny bit of work at the same time. As always, I depend on you guys to give me things to talk about. So for the love of dog, you can see the chat here, there. But there is a live chat where that chat's coming from. This chat, there, comes from a chat that's over there on the YouTube player. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's just there. You can do the typey and join in. I've got the chat here on my iPad so I can see what you're saying. But I want you to join in because I'll give stickers away later. And besides, you can give me things to talk about. And nice people in there. So go and join in. Go and join in with the live chat. If you're watching this and you can't see the live chat anywhere, then you just need to hit the YouTube button at the bottom of the window here somewhere. Down here underneath the player. That'll take you to the YouTube page where you can see the live chat and the typey bit and join in. If you're watching it on YouTube on a device like a phone or a tablet, it might be underneath the video, so scroll down a bit. They've kind of changed it all. But do come and join in. If you want to ask me something or get my attention in the chat, a few things you can do. First of all, as always, type it in big fat capital letters so I have a chance of seeing it. I've got the iPad here so I can have a better chance, but put it in all caps, then I can have a chance of seeing it. If you want to, though, you can use the super chat button, which is a little dollar symbol at the bottom of the chat here. That just puts your comment in a big colour box in the chat and makes a little ping and gives me a notification as well, so I can't miss your comment then at all. And as always, we're going to go through and get loads of this done. We do have the stream boss battle carrying on. You can see this health bar here. It does say model making guru, but I am not the stream boss. Our current stream boss is in chat. It's Simon Reynolds, also known as Kevin, our Lord and Master. His health is slowly being chipped away. And don't forget, if you've never seen one of these shows before, what is Stream Boss Battle? Basically, you can win 300 to 500 quid's worth of Warhammer or Forge World stuff if you become the new Stream Boss. All you need to do is all work together to get Simon's health down, to get Kevin's health down to 0. Whoever trips him to 0 becomes the new stream boss and basically wins a whole mess of basically money. But the way to get the health down, losing my thread here, the way to get the health down is to either do a super chat again, like I said, the little chat window here, the little dollar symbol, or you can put a tip through the tip jar, which is streamlabs.com/model making guru. The address is just down here somewhere. And everybody that puts a tip through or a super chat, that takes a bit of Kevin's health off. And the more you put through as a tip or a super chat, the more health comes off. And whoever gets him to 0 becomes that new stream boss, basically wins all the money in that pot, and then I order for them whatever they want from Games Workshop or from Warhammer. It's from Forge World. So, yeah, get playing, get that health coming down. You can also take a little tiny bit of his health off by just subscribing to the channel if you're not already a subscriber, and hit the notification bell as well. So, let's have a quick look at the chat. So, I hope you're all well. While we were getting ready there, I just popped outside to see what the weather was doing. We have now all the bees in the world living in... If you remember, I think last week or in some previous show throughout the course this week, I've explained to you that we've got a tree bumblebee nest in our kitchen roof. The very little thing about that big, the bee's nest. Tree bumblebees. And the way tree bumblebees work is that somebody's just put something through. That was... David J. Temple 64 has subscribed. Welcome, David J. Temple 64. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for your sub. You've taken a little bit of Kevin's health off. Yeah, tree bumblebees. They're not big nests. They're little nests. They only last a year. But all the males hang out outside, and a cloud of bees waiting for the queens to come out, and then they can do the funky, and then they'll die. So there's this big cloud of bumblebees outside the nest at the moment, and it looks terrifying, but it's completely harmless because they don't have stings and they're totally docile. So I've stood like right underneath them, sorting out the hose pipe to water the garden, and it's like, hey bees, and nothing. They've not got stings, so it's kind of awesome to watch. It's the only species that does it. So I've taken a little video. I'll put it up in the boom hut later on, just so people can see. It's kind of cool to sit there and watch them doing their thing. Basically all these big fat bumblebee males outside the nest going, hey ladies, come and get some. That's what they're doing, basically. So I like bumblebees. Apparently it's a new species, only been in the country for about 20 years. So there you go. Anyway, let's shut up about bees. Welcome to everyone. Let's have a quick whiz through the chat. I am missing a lot of the chat. I was on top chat for a start. Top chat. No, I won't sing that. Copyright. Right now, I know that Pascal was technically the first person in chat about 4 hours ago when I set the stream up, so welcome, Pascal. But my chat only goes as far as Foobit saying, broadsword. Although I know that just before that, Simon Reynolds or Kevin said, oh no, Mormons! To which I replied, Gravity Land. Yeah, it's an old joke. So welcome to Foobits and Simon Reynolds / Kevin. Dad is in, one of your mods for today. Dad is in. Dad is a lovely, lovely bloke, but if you mess about in chat and a complete tool, he will kick your ass into next week. So everybody be nice in chat. Don't forget, of course, this is my stream. It's nothing to do with e-models. You know, I'm sponsored by e-models, but this stream is nothing to do with them. You can use rude words in chat. You can be all grown up and say things in chat that you wouldn't say anywhere else. You're allowed to. I don't care, because it doesn't affect my monetization. Only me saying rude words affects monetization. So I'm not going to read out your swear words. And I might occasionally swear, but I'm not going to read your swear words out, so I don't care if you say rude things in chat. Just don't be a tool, you know, and all that. But, you know, be nice. Who else do we have? We have Simon Reynolds saying that he hasn't been home yet. If you weren't here last week, Simon Reynolds joined us at about 5 p.m. last week. He was at Warhammer Fest. And he came on to advise us, or to update us, that he had in fact won a Golden Demon. His build of, I think it was the Lord of Change, Simon, remind me? I think it was a Lord of Change, heavily modified and beautifully painted, came gold. He got Golden Demon. Golden Demon. Just picked at the post for the big Slayer sword, but you should have got that sword. I saw the one that won the sword, Simon. Should have had that. Should have been yours. But yes, he got himself a Golden Demon, so well done. So he's not been back yet. Not been back at all. He's been working away. Let's have a look. Who else have we got in? Quano Man is in. Welcome, lad. You all right? Candy Grand for Mongo. Candy Grand for Mongo. Candy Grand for Mongo. Welcome, dude. Or dudette. Again, I do apologise. Again, if you're not familiar with my streams, I have the worst memory in the world. If you don't use your real name in YouTube, I'll have forgotten who you actually are, and I'll forget whether you're a bloke or a lady. Because, you know, pseudonyms never tell me. So I do forget, and I will get everybody's name wrong. So it's how I work. My memory is terrible. I only remember irrelevant stuff, not actual important facts. Alberto Grahalis is in. Alberto, welcome. Who else have we got come in since then? We have Nim's in. Welcome, Nim. Morning, even. Every time I see you, Nim, all I think is like the smell of baking bread, and it makes me hungry. I love the smell of baking bread. Walter Wilmoth, my bits are off limits to all of you. Steady Neris. Borry Models, hi all, welcome Borry, not seen you in for a while. Wayne Haywood and the Print Guru are both in. Wayne Haywood says, hi all, big coffee time. No, big tea. Sorry, yeah. I've already had one of these full of coffee when I got up, so I can't have two in a day because that will just give me a heart attack and I would explode. Jamie Bone is in. Welcome, Jamie. Hope you're having a good weekend, dude. Snowman HFC, hi all, welcome Snowman. Tyrone Key, hello Tyrone. Rinks Near is in. Everybody comes in towards the last few minutes of the preamble. A few people have asked me, by the way, why I do that half-hour stuff at the start, half-hour music. It's two reasons. One, I've got stuff to get ready. Behind the scenes. Two, it allows me to fiddle with stuff behind the scenes because it gives me half an hour to make sure the stream is working, my frame rate is good, that there's no drop packets or anything like that. So it gives me half an hour of buffer time that I can fiddle around with stuff behind the scenes. But also, I think it's just a nice time for you guys to hang out and chat with each other. I like to give you a half hour where I'm not talking, you're not distracted by me, you're just talking to each other, and you can just hang out with your friends for half an hour before the show starts. It's a bit like sitting through half an hour of really crap adverts at the cinema, but without the crap adverts. So there you go. So, but there's technical stuff I do anyway. Fubit says, greetings and seam line scrapings everyone. Got the other sets put away and just the one in front of me to focus on. High grade Death Scythe from 2000. Dang, those bits are tiny. Cramps ready. Broadsword. Yes. Nim says, we finally have summer weather here and I'm still not putting my air conditioning unit in the window. Why not? Let's have a look who else we got in. Hi, Lord Kevin, at your service, says Simon Reynolds. Tyrone Key does my job and says, so what is everyone working on at the moment? I'll be working on a Tau TX4 Piranha. That was the first, the Tau Piranha was the first Warhammer model I ever made. Only about a year and a half, 2 years ago. I've been doing it for a couple of years. Great fun, great fun. Let's have a look. Simon Reynolds says, I'm actually fooling around with some contrast paints I have come by. Games Workshop actually gifted Golden Demon winners with a gift bag that I didn't open till Wednesday due to work. It had 10 contrast paints. Cool. I'm thinking when I do my, when I'm working on my army, some of the troops in my army, I've got 10 or 20 Tempestus Scions that I'm going to paint. The plan is to paint them in the colour scheme of Char's uniform. I'll show them to you with your face. You can look at them with your eyes. Here we go. They'll be covered in dust because they've been off on the side for ages. I have 20 Tempestus Scions that I started painting. And all I got down basically, I made some terrible mistakes. I was kind of just being a spoon. I've got 20 of these guys. I started painting them. And they're going to be like Char's outfit. So it's going to be red with white gloves and white boots and silver and gold details. However, I've got some red down. I've got some Mephiston red and a couple of coats of Agrax Earthshade. And I've got my Celestra grey or through in grey, whichever it is, ready to into white. And I've kind of realised I've got to do all the gold trim and it's going to be a pain in the bum because I've already shaded the red. I'm tempted now. I'm thinking what I might do is actually take all these dudes. There's 20 of them. I'm going to take all these dudes because I've already done this once on one guy. I painted him once and tested it out. I might take all these guys, strip them down completely, back to plastic, and then when it comes to it, paint them with whatever the red contrast paint is, because painting the white boots and gloves was a right pain in the bum, and what the primer that comes with the contrast paint is white. So what I might do is get some of the contrast paints when they come out, get them obviously white primed, then use the contrast paint to paint all the reds, and then take it from there. I won't just leave it like I'll do layering on top and stuff like that, but it just means I can then go ahead and do the gold trim and not mess everything up. So I might do, I don't know yet. I keep meaning to go back to them. But they're just, it's one of those projects that you start painting it and you realise you're not doing it very well or everything's gone wrong and you have to strip it back again. It's like, oh. However, it's one of those things where I'd rather do that than just give up and throw them away because I don't ever want to have to make Tempestus Scions ever again. Oh, those arms. If Games Workshop hadn't had the 2-part arms, I'd be all up for making an army of those guys. But not when they've got 2-piece arms. It's a right pain in the bum. Let's have a look. Sai says, they are okay, honestly. I'm not the biggest fan. They aren't made for my style, but I can certainly appreciate their uses. Yeah, I'm thinking just using the red ones just to bulk paint those quickly, basically. Because I've already painted them kind of once and started again. I'm sick of them now. So, yeah, I think I might just use contrast paints. Wayne Hayward is working through 2 squads of Legion Rebel troops. That's a Star Wars tabletop. Tyrone is going to be creating his own sept based on the Earth forces from the Gundam universe. Oh, that's good. It's a Tau sept. Chrono Man says, I've been told if you're a really good boy in chat, Daddy will read you a bedtime story. Strange. Sai says, yes, iFox, a converted Lord of Change. Let's have a look. Sorry, folks, I can't help it if I'm a baker. You should never have to apologise for the smell of baking bread. It's the best smell in the world. The only smell that's better than the smell of baking bread is petrichor. That smell you get after a week of dry, and then you get a little bit of rain, and you get that lovely smell of the grass and the soil because it's just hit by the rain. It's like, it's called petrichor. I love that smell. Thy creator and Speedy Curator in. Welcome to both of you. Tyrone is basing the colours of his Tau Sept on different colours of Gundams and mobile suits. For example, Crisis battle suits will be GMs, and Commanders will be the RX-78 Gundams. Nice. I'm basing my army on Principality of Zeon. So, the plan is, like I say, the Tempesta Scions will be based on Char's outfit, so red and white. I've got one knight painted already, which has been painted to look like a bog standard Zaku. I'm going to have two other knights, one painted like a goof and one to look like Char's Zaku. My normal bog standard Imperial troops, I think I'm going to base them on bog standard Zeon ground forces, so yellowy grey, they're all shades of green, like green. There's lots of yellowy greens and things like that. The ones that look like World War II German soldiers. They'll be painted in those kind of green shades. I've done a couple of vehicles so far. One in a sort of dark green Zeon colour scheme and one in a dark blue-grey, Taurox in a dark blue German grey kind of colour scheme. And that's just basing them off some of the ground vehicles and the colours you get for some of the vehicles for Zeon. The sort of like the hard graph UCS? No, hard graph. UC hard graph. I'll say that again. Hard graph. I'm getting confused with Lego UCS. Some of the hard graph model kits, the 135th, they tend to be green shades for the Zeon vehicles. But I'm kind of making it up as well. But I haven't quite figured out the bog standard Imperial troops yet, so I haven't painted any of those. Scott Sutherland's in. Welcome, Scott. How's the weather in Orkney? Pascal says lorem ipsum to thy creator. Don't know why he's saying lorem ipsum. I know what lorem ipsum is, but I don't know why he's saying it. Nim is going to be painting tiny 1/100 scale figures for my flight crew for my Jester hangar diorama. Cool. It's a good way to test them, Fox. Good plan, that. Yeah, it's just because I'm sick of painting my Scions, mate. I'm sick of paint. I've tried them twice now. And the problem I did is I painted them all Mephiston red and then did a shade. And I'm like, oh, why have I done that? Because now I've got to do all the other stuff. And I'm just like, oh, fudge. You know, when you have a moment of, and you forget. So I'm sick of them now. I just want to get painted. At least just get that bit painted. I'll take time over the gold plate and details and stuff. Let's have a look. Nim has come up with a colour scheme for her little 1/100 scale figures in the diorama because she was asking what kind of outfit do like the deck crew on aircraft carriers and things. And, you know, the guys that run around when a military plane takes off, the ground crew and the deck crew and stuff. So she decided, I'm going to paint them on orange, and then me and my build team are going to come up with our own job colours. Cool. If you paint them orange, will that be like the sort of the minions from any sort of James Bond volcano layer bad guy type henchmen type outfits? Do they have to have like MP40 machine guns as well? That'd be fantastic. Gross Models, Chris is in. Hello, I have returned. Welcome back. Dad says, oh. Paul is in from Team Inept. He says, brisket is in the pressure cooker and I found the milliput. Time to spend the next 90 minutes working on the pose for the Recon Trooper. Yeah, milliput, good stuff. Scott says it's dull and overcast. It's dull and overcast here, but also quite nicely warm, which is why all the bees are out. Is that a Batman style return? Asks Quanoman, and Gross Model says with nipples. Ew. I didn't want to think about that. I actually watched that in the cinema and regretted every pence I'd spent on going to watch that film. God. I don't know why. I mean, I loved the first Batman movie in 89. I didn't mind the second one, but every movie after that, I don't know why I went to the cinema and spent money to watch them, and I should have just stopped. I paid money to watch. I only watched that first Joel Schumacher Batman. Which one was it? The first Joel Schumacher one? I can't remember. It was really terrible stuff. Terrorist is in. Hi Fox, hi chat. Happy weekend all. Welcome. Right, so let's get some work done. So yes, we have so far that much of the Space Horse done. What I did after the show last week was, and I'll zoom in a bit so you can see, even though you won't see very well. I've also been very clever and I'm wearing my proper reading glasses again this week so I can actually see things a bit better. I don't know why, I've just never been wearing them. What I did last week was I obviously stuck the legs on the back, but what I did was I got some sprue goo and I filled in some of the little gaps. Now there are little gaps down the chest here. There's a gap there where all the panels come together. I glued the chest together and put this on the front. The gap down the middle here, you can just gently sand it, and it looks pretty good. It's fine. It just blends away. The gaps down the sides, you can see them, and you can see them there, but there's not really much you can do about them without completely filling in the skin texture and having to resculpt it to look like the skin. So I'm just going to have to live with that. Once it's actually on its legs and all painted, it might not be that obvious. It might blend in and just look like bits of skin texture. Hopefully there'll be a leg there anyway, covering most of that up. There were also, though, there's a seam line down these two leather straps here, and there was a seam line down this sort of saddle strap here, one there and one there. So all I did was I got some sprue goo, which if you're not sure what sprue goo is, it's basically Tamiya extra thin with a whole load of little tiny chips of polystyrene plastic card dumped in it to make it into a thick, goopy sort of stodge, basically, which is literally liquid polystyrene. And with sprue goo, use it like a filler, but all you do is you put a tiny blob of it over the little gap you want to fill, leave it 24 hours to dry, and then when it's dry, basically all the glue has evaporated away, and all you're left with is a chunk of polystyrene, which is welded to the polystyrene in the kit. It's basically you're filling a gap with plastic, not filler, which means that it's completely sculptable, completely sandable. You could panel line it, you could scribe panel lines into it. It's completely sculptable. It's brilliant. And it's dead quick and dead simple. So I put 2 dots of the sprue goo on here, and 2 on that bit of the strapping there. And then once they dried, I just gently filed them and sanded them a little bit just to make them all blend away. Now you can still see the little white bits there. If I hold it on camera, it would be a good start. You can still see the little bits of white or bluey white where the sprue goo was. But once that's primed over and painted, you won't. I've held them up to the light and checked. You won't see anything. So although there's not a lot you can do with the gaps between, there's a gap there in the crotch, there's a gap that goes down the middle of the leg, you can see it there, there's not a lot you can do with that without having to completely resculpt all the leg details. So what I did was, when I put these together, I made sure I used a lot of extra thin, just brushed it in to make it kind of melt the plastic and soften it a bit, went over it very gently with a flat file, very gently, and then just came back and rescored any little horizontal sort of skin texture lines, not all just the horizontal ones, just to make it blend away a bit. Now it's not got rid of that gap. You can see the seam line there down the middle of the leg, which is really annoying, but it's not massive, and once it's painted, like I say, it'll probably just look like skin texture, so I'm not too fussed. It's a compromise. I could spend days and days resculpting the entire leg, but I'd never get it as good as the actual sculpt itself, so there's no point going that far into it. So right, Fox, you look huge cast on my 55-inch telly box of visionness. Wow, I'll have to watch myself back on my telly later on. Hang on, let me... Hello? Just see what that looks like later on. That was my face and everything. Did you see it? How much of my face can... I don't know how much you can see. Hello? Hey. Is that scary? Shall I do that again? Shall I not do that again? Oh, the thing is, the camera's here, so I've had to bend round to do that. I may have hurt myself now. Let's have a look. Also, by the way, welcome Gaz. Gaz even. Let's have a look. The Nolan ones were good, says Speedy Q8. No, they weren't. Well, they were, but I didn't like the face, the cowl on the Christopher Nolan Batman, which made me despise the entire film, because the cowl, I explained this a couple of shows ago, the hole was too small. Michael Keaton's cowl was perfect. They changed it to have this tiny little hole, so it was like a bank robber with a stupid balaclava. It was like, oh God, really? Forever was the first Joel film. Yeah, was that the one with Mr. Freeze and the Riddler? All the Joel Schumacher films were just gash. They were just complete gash in celluloid form, and I don't know why I paid money to go to the cinema. Oh, made me angry. Fubit says, hey guys, couple of questions. Can I lay acrylic and clear glaze? Hang on. Wait, start again. Acrylic, clear glaze, and then an oil wash. Okay. What's the purpose of the clear glaze? Do you mean like a coloured glaze, like you're actually glazing colours? So what you're basically saying is, can you layer oil washes over acrylic paints? In which case, yes, you can. Oil washes and things can go happily over fully dried and fully cured acrylic paints of any kind. Because the thinners in oil paints, which is basically mineral spirits or odorless oil paint thinners and things like that, they don't react with acrylics at all. So yes, you can quite happily. I've put oil washes and stuff over unvarnished acrylic paint, no problem. Protect what I've put down, says Foobits. And a clear glaze wouldn't actually protect anything. A clear acrylic varnish would protect your paint. A clear glaze, if you mean glaze like, literally like, I don't know, Larmian medium or like the Vallejo clear medium or something like that, that wouldn't actually do any protection. But if by clear glaze you mean like clear varnish, then yes, that's fine. It would protect it. Yes, oil paint thinners will have no effect at all on any kind of acrylic paints or varnishes. You don't have to varnish acrylic paints to do oil work on top of them. It's kind of handy if you can do any dry brushing or rubbing of any kind. You might want to, just to protect the paint from rubbing. But the thinners that you're going to use with your oil paints, so as I say, odorless terpenoids, oil paint thinners, enamel thinners are the same. I would avoid things like white spirit and terps just because they stink. But they won't have any effect. But yes, if you're doing a pin wash where you want the wash to flow into the recesses, you want to do a gloss varnish for that, just because then it'll flow better. But if you're not particularly doing, if you're just doing, say, dot filters or streaking or something like that, you don't need a gloss finish. You don't even need to varnish it. You can just go straight over a matte varnish or just the paint. Sometimes going over dry, fully cured acrylic paint is great. But make sure it's had about, Vallejo Glaze Medium, says Pascal Devers. Yeah, I always forget what it's called. But yes, glaze mediums aren't protective in any way, shape or form. They're just paints without colour. But clear glaze, if you mean a varnish, that is protective. Also, I recall seeing a bit briefly about using hairspray to do a better adherer stickers for eyes. If you're doing a Gumpler then. I use, when I put clear stickers on eyes on a Gumpler, what I do is, the glue's actually pretty good. But what I'll do is, I'll put the sticker down. I'll get it on there. I'll get some cotton buds. I'll get the sticker down, then I'll burnish it, really put a lot of pressure on and really push it down and stick it down with the cotton bud, which I'll now throw away. And then once it's down, I will very carefully brush over it with some, in my case, it's Pledge Floor Care Finish 2 times more shine, but it may be Future / Clear / Pledge Revive It, Pledge Multi-Surface Wax, a gloss varnish, just brush it over, and that does 2 things. One, it kind of seals the sticker in, because it seeps underneath and sticks a bit, but it also coats it completely. But also, it makes the sticker even more shiny, and especially with Gumpler, if you've got the eye cameras, those metallic foil stickers, they're really reflective, and if you put a gloss varnish over the top, they're even more reflective. So, you know, a gloss varnish of your choice, I just brush it over, seals it in, locks it in place, and it makes it more shiny. You could use, you know, just PVA glue, Elmer's glue underneath, but you may as well just, that'll make it uneven and unflat. I'd rather get the sticker down first and flat and then cover it up with varnish. Speedy Curator says, my memory of that movie was the security guard screaming, "Oh my god, boiling acid," just like acid isn't bad enough. But anyway, what was the other question, Foobits? You said there was 2 questions. Fantastic, thanks, most excellent, thanks again. No problem. What was your second question? And Speedy Curator says, when he says shutting, he meant abiding. Auto carrot. Right, tea. Yes, I shall post up a little video of all the bees later on. All the bees outside my kitchen window. Right, where are we up to? Right, we've got 2 more legs to do. Leg items. Leg articles. Foobits, you got it. Oh, that was the second one about the stick. Yes, hello, I'm being spesh. Spesh! Hello, I'm spesh. Right, what am I doing now? I've done 2 back legs, and I shouldn't have actually stuck them on yet, but, you know, live by the gun, die by the gun. So we've done the 2 back legs. Now we have the 2 front legs too. Look at the muscularity. As always, my regular call, once you finish watching this show, don't forget, of course, you need to go back, stay on YouTube, and do a search for Bardic Broadcasts and look up Why is Hero Quest So Great? It's his best video he's ever made, and it's one of the best videos on YouTube. You have to go and watch it. You have to go and watch it. If you like tabletop gaming and laughing and funny things, you have to go and watch it, because I'm getting the impression going forward now there'll be a lot of comments in the chat on shows that I do where there'll be things like people saying, "Oh no, Mormons!" and things like that you won't get. It's very funny. Right, so we need 27, 28, and 29. 27, 28, and 29. Let's have the usual hunt. Let's see if we can guess where they're going. Not on that one. Not on that one. Maybe on this one. 20, 53, 36, 48, 35, 28. There we go. Lovely jubbly. There we go. Speedy Create says, the best thing... Yes, it's the best thing about Hero Quest. The finest tiny furniture in all the realms. Yes, I love that video. This is the best video ever. Every now and then you'll find a video on YouTube you think this is the best video ever, but that truly is the best video ever. You have to watch it. Don't watch it now, because obviously I need you watching me. 27 and 28. That was 28. So I'm going to be needing 27, which will be hard, see? Oh, I can see what they're going to do here. They're going to put a seam line right down the middle of that armour piece, aren't they? Oh. I may have to say fudge. I may have to say a rude word in my head. 27, 28, and 29. 29! Oops. Let's get this bit trimmed. Now you see I'm not using my god hand straight off because I'm getting them off the sprue with the big chunky Games Workshop I can cut through steel cable. Andy McLeish is in. Hey Andy McLeish. This is a gargoyle, this is an abomination. Nobody even knows what this is. This is a gargoyle, this is an abomination. Yeah, you have to see the people are making the references and you won't get it. You won't get the references. Yeah, they're going to put a seam line right down the middle of this armour plate, aren't they? Oh, now it's not going to be hard to get rid of, because a bit like on the chest armour, it's kind of a natural, it's like curved with a crease down the middle, so it's kind of where the middle is, so it'd be quite easy to fix. It's still a pain in the bum. Do. So how is everyone? How are you all? I hope you're all enjoying your weekend. I hope most of you, or at least some of you, are getting decent weather. As always, the question has to be asked. Dad, would you ask the question, please? I like to let Dad ask the question. You know what the question is. That's those bits done with knippers. Beyond Hope. Oh, welcome Beyond Hope. Says, still think Fox will change his mind at the last and convert this into Rhaegon from Game of Thrones. No. Kind of has that look to it, but it's got a big Goldie bloke dude and not like Dany on the back. Anyway, Dany's a bad guy now. She's a complete psycho killer, so nobody can like Dany anymore. Yep, there we go. Dad says, what's on your bench and what's in your belly? Thank you, Dad. Yes, so as always, you know the question. What are you working on right now, if anything? What's on your bench? And also, what are you either planning for your dinner, or what have you had for your dinner? Or, depending on where you are in the world, what are you planning for your lunch, or what have you had for your lunch? Now, I used to love asking this question. Unfortunately, because I'm trying to slim down a bit, and I'm not eating food all day long like I used to do because I'm a fat bloater. I kind of regret asking it now, because as soon as we start talking about it, I get really, really hungry and I've got hours to go till dinner time. Oh, fudge. So, yeah, so what's on your bench and what's in your belly? And remember, you can't just say pizza or curry. You have to give details. We will demand anybody missing the details will be ridiculed out loud with speaking. You will be ridiculed. You must give all the details. To quote an ELO song, all the tiny little details. If you're wondering what the song is, it's a song by ELO called Here Is the News, which is one of the best songs ever written, ever. It's one of my favouriteest songs in the whole world. I know some of you already said what you're working on, but there you go. Answer again, why not? Oh yeah, Foobit says spoilers, and yeah, spoilers. Yeah, I didn't go into too much detail, did I? I kind of remember. I immediately forget what I'm talking about, so I hope I didn't just ruin anything. Hopefully not. Shh, I didn't say anything. There's nothing. No, don't worry about it. Just moving on. Although seriously, if you haven't watched Game of Thrones yet, why? Sort that out. And if it's because you haven't got Netflix / Amazon / anything else, then there's plenty of ways you can have watched it. None of which I would endorse over the airwaves, obviously. Is HBO? Is it just on HBO? I don't know how these things work. Whatever the official thing is. Never know what's on Netflix or Amazon anymore nowadays. I think that's all the nubulations on there. Look at the muscularity. All the nubs on there. There's a big seam line again. Right down the middle of the... Oh, I'm still zoomed in. What am I doing, Fox? Hang on, let me zoom out again. You guys need to let me know. I'll stay zoomed in a bit. I don't like staying zoomed in all the time, though, because the quality is usually pretty cack. In fact, why don't I do something funky? Why don't I put that there? And then if I can move the camera down a bit... Whoa! And now what I have to do is not knock my head on the camera every 5 minutes. I'm going to adjust the focusings. Let me focus on this little puppy here. Focusing. Put my right glasses on. Hang on. I need to swap my glasses for this now. Hang on. All the different glasses. That needs to go there. I need to hold that like that. This is how I do my focusing, you see. There, we're in. Yes. Right, so glasses. Swap the glasses again. Helmet on. Right, so you can see a bit better. Yes, we've got another seam line going right down the middle here. So hopefully that will be easily removed. Now this one is going right down the middle of the leg, so I can just get that off with the removal tool and sand it back. That's fine. The difficulty is when you get things like these joins here where you've got the 2 parts of the leg, so we'll figure that out in a minute. Right, let's have a look at who's doing what. Sorry, I got the sniffles there. Name repeats that she's doing the 100 figures, flight crew, and Belly don't know yet, but I mailed her some takeout. Do it! You dial a number, and a little man turns up with food, and it's magic. It's like the modern magic. I press some numbers on a piece of plastic, and somebody turns up with treats for me to apply to my face. Although when you do it, there won't be food that comes to me, obviously. Simon Reynolds says, Bench I've mentioned, Belly is a lamb pasanda with a couple of garlic naans for lunch, probably Wagamamas for war gamers, Wagamamas for dinner, the joys of being on the road. Oh yes. Is it all paid for on the company though? Do you get to claim it back? Because that's even better. Take out food that you don't have to pay for. Speedy Curator's working on a bust of Crichton right now. That's a good plan, Mr. Rimmer, sir, with 2 major flaws. 1, we don't have a laser cannon, and 2, we don't have a laser cannon. That was a terrible impression. Crichton regular Batman and Batman who laughs with the Seno Bat TM twist. Chocolate cake baked and cooling. Cake 2 in progress. Ooh. Wayne Hayward's got Belly. Or you can eat Chinese Indian buffet. Oh, Chinese and you've got restaurants that have Chinese and Indian. This blows my mind. We either have Chinese or Indian. We get like Chinese, Japanese, Thai fusion, or we get Indian. I don't know, is there an Indian fusion? Indian sometimes mixed with a bit of Thai, but I don't think we have any Chinese. Oh, a restaurant where they did Chinese and... Oh, that'd be fantastic. On the bench, you can't get close enough due to larger belly, says Wayne Hayward. Yes, fatness. Scott Sliller has a Magak 6 on the bench. It's IDF. You know it's Israeli Defence Force. Pasta in mushroom sauce. Sauce. He says sauce. Pasta in mushroom sauce. Broadsword. Pasta in mushroom sauce with tuna for dinner. Ooh, tuna. That's like being a student. You've got to get some like plain crisps and sprinkle them on top when you put it in the oven. Oh, then you can be a real student again. Chronoman has got bench has rock formations for my Star Wars display, and I'm scoffing a billion of Fox's Rocky Caramel biscuits. Not my Rocky Caramel biscuits, because if you did, I'd have to kill you. Paul at Team Inept is deciding how to pose the soon-to-be customised Recon Trooper and Brisket. You put the comet in the wrong place. What's a Recon Trooper and Brisket? Always be careful of your commas, folks. Punctuation is very important and can make international incidents can come off the back of bad commas. I'll read it again. Deciding how to pose the soon-to-be customised Recon Trooper, comma, and biscuit, chorizo, macaroni, cheese, and some vegetables. Oh, that sounds great. Now we are well and truly zoomed for the Stabbity, says Sai. Pro tip for those... It moved. Pro tip for those annoying ruffles in the skin or anything really. If you've cleaned the line but have gunk or crap left tiny scratches, a tiny brush over with extra thin will totally melt it down. I have been doing that, actually. The 2 things I found, I didn't really mention that, but with these kind of bits here, where you've got the skin texture, because you've got little blobs of skin. So you do have some of the horizontal lines, so they do kind of blend in. The only reason it doesn't blend in fully is because some of these horizontal gaps between the little sort of blobs of skin don't go on for, they've only gone for a small area, but this one goes all the way along. Yeah, what Simon says, sometimes when you do your sanding and stuff, I'll do sand, and then what I'll do is I'll go back and rescribe some of the sort of lines in there just to build them back again, because they go a bit soft. But then if you do a little sand again, you get some of the powder left, and if you just take some of your extra thin and run it over it, because obviously extra thin dissolves the plastic, it dissolves the polystyrene, it can help dissolve that. And also, another handy tip on the back of that, and Simon, thanks for saying this, Simon, because I forgot to mention all this. If you do things like anything where you've, say, drilled out the barrel of a bolter, or you've done any kind of drilling or scraping and you've got a bit of a rough surface, you've done some sanding and your surface is a little bit rough, and you just want to smooth it down, a quick coat of extra thin can sometimes just take a jaggedy edge. So let's say you've taken a bolter, you've got a bolter barrel. I've got a tube, I can show you one. Let's pretend that's a bolter barrel, and you've drilled out the barrel here, and you've drilled out the hole down there, the little sort of the muzzle brake hole there. And it might be a little bit rough because you've got your file in there, or you've got a knife in there, and you can't quite get it smooth. Just get your little extra thin brush, wipe it round on the inside, and it just dissolves the plastic a little bit and smooths it out. So it's a handy tip whenever you get that. Yeah, but sanding dust as well, it just dissolves it and makes it look fantastic. So yeah, good tip. Thanks for reminding me of that, Simon. Simon knows his stuff. Walter Wilmer says, the sad thing about moving to the hills away from the grumblings of common folk is no delivery, but small price to pay for peace. Yeah. Kevin says, and iFox, all paid for. David J. Temple 64, welcome David J. Temple 64, says, stew for tea, and I can't, this is, okay. I know you're a new subscriber, so you might not know this. You have to be more, you have to clarify. The audience want to know, if you say like pizza or curry or stew, you've got to tell us what is it, chicken stew, beef stew, what's in there. We need to know all the details so I can, it's basically to torture me. What kind of stew? If you say beef stew and then list all the vegetables, that'd be fantastic, because now I've got images of beef stew in my head and I'm really hungry. Oh, I've gone wrong. Oh, it's gone wrong. I need tea just to pretend. I'm going to pretend this tea's food. Oh, beef stew, my favourite. Stew for tea and can't get to the bench at the moment. 18-year-olds back from uni, but will be the Shadow Spear box set or Knights next? For those that don't realise, by the way, the Shadow Spear set is back in stock. It went out of stock quite quickly, and people were thinking, wait, have they taken it off production already? But it's back. When Simon Reynolds became the new stream boss, he won 500 quid's worth of stuff of his choice from the Warhammer store, the Forge World store. He went for Warhammer stuff, not Forge World, but he was going to get himself, was it one or two, it might have been even 2 packs of the Shadow Spear to build up and paint, but it was not available. Excuse me. It had been out like a week and already gone out of stock. And there was a rumour then, it was like, is that it? Is it one of these really short limited runs? But it wasn't. Pascal Leaverse is currently panelining the Psycho Zaku. Good God, that's a big thing. And had croissant at lunch. Cheese croissant. Oh, that sounds nice. Speedy Q8 says to Paul, pose it with its foot on the brisket like a fresh kill. Sai says, Fox understands the plight. It just gives a really smooth line. Extra thin is godly. Yes, Fox, barrels are perfect. Extra thin is so clutch. Did you say so clutch? Have I got... Oh, does that mean I'm like one of these like video vloggers now where I have to tell you about like a half-hour video about some eyeliner I put on or something? Clutch. Is that... Are we all hardcore and street now and down with the kids with their hippity-hop and their rock and their roll? Cool. Really clutch for really smooth surfaces like marines. Yeah, extra thin is fantastic. It's not just a glue. You can use it carefully to smooth things off. It won't get rid of big gashy sanding marks, but anything where you've got a bit of a rough texture, like I said about the inside of barrels or anything like that, where you just want to really just soften it a bit, it's really cool for that. And I've been quite generous with it around these little gaps just to help fill them in a bit. So it's all based on the fact that the key thing it does is melt the plastic. So have fun with it. It's really, really handy. Got really sniffly nose. Dave Cardboard says, if the answer is curry I made myself, do we have to disclose the recipe? No, but you need to tell us if it's like lamb or chicken or vegetable or, you know, I don't know, roadkill or whatever it is. We need some details. We need to know that. So because what we need to do is The whole point is that all those people who aren't going to have their dinner for another 4 or 5 hours, this is all to torture us, because I haven't eaten hours yet. It's to torture us. So I want you to tell me what you're having, so that in my mind I can smell it and I can see it and I can just, oh, yeah. Snowman HFC gives the correct answer. He says chicken and mushroom pot noodle. You can stop there. Nothing on the bench. You are forgiven for having nothing on the bench because you have the correct pot noodle. Fraser Davies, welcome Fraser, has pork chops for tea with roasties. Oh, lots of 40k on the bench, but zero motivation. Yeah, probably because you've got lots of stuff on the bench that's all half done, and you're like, oh, I can't paint all that. Yeah. Right, what are we doing now? Simon Reynolds says, important, this is the last run of Shadow Spear. When it's gone, it is gone. Simon Reynolds says, to be honest, I must credit the legendary YouTuber Dr. Faust Painting Clinic for that extra thin tip. I didn't know he covered that. I've kind of always done it. Especially with like barrels and stuff, I've always kind of used it to smooth off plastics. Actually, I think I got it from my very good friend Tony over at Helgen 35. There you go. I think I got it from him. Although I'd always done it, but I'd never really thought about it. Spid says, can you repeat what you said for the last 5 minutes? My cake mixer is drowning out the volume and my headphones are like 2 whole rooms away. Yeah, no, cause I don't know what I said. Sarah Reynolds says, a few fucks. Let's have a look. Okay, chicken curry, there we go, good effort. But now I can't eat anything else for the rest of the day. Yeah, but you've had chicken curry. The clutch jab, says Cy Reynolds. When I hear the word clutch, I think of only 2 things. Oh my god, my clutch on my car is going to break at some point and I can't get it fixed. Can't afford to get it fixed, so please don't break. And also, I just remember clutch cargo. That's just a nightmare fuel, that was. Anybody remembers clutch cargo? God, that was nightmare fuel. Right, let's trim some nubbage. Brian Fester is gluing up a vintage first run Zaku with fresh brewed coffee. Wait. Hang on. Again, we've got the common thing here, haven't we? We've got what Paul just did. You're gluing up a vintage first run Zaku with fresh brewed coffee. That's not going to stick, dude. It's not going to stick. You want to use glue. Commas, dude. You're gluing up a vintage first run Zaku, and then you've also having fresh brewed coffee and morning meds here on the Gulf Coast of Florida. Ooh. And Cy Reynolds says, wow, how's the plastic held up? Yes. I love it when punctuation goes a bit awry and the meaning of a sentence completely changes. Awesome. Right, so I'm just going to take off these little bits of nub with the knife of Stabity. Now, you may notice me being a bit more careful on this build and in depth than I have been on previous builds. Other builds, like builds for my own army. There's a very good reason for that. This is a build to sell. When I eventually do get around to painting this, probably later on in the year, because this is going to be built and primed and that'll be left in the cabinet. But once it's get time later on in the year, this will be one that I'll build to sell, basically. So I need to make sure it looks top notch. Top notch. Just because I can't be selling shoddy stuff. Now, the stuff I'm doing for my own army, in a way, I don't really care. It's for my own army, and it's only ever going to be seen from like 3 feet away. So I'm just really building stuff for my army quickly and simply. I'm not making no effort at all. But I'm not doing museum display cabinet quality builds or anything like that. I'm just doing nice looking things that don't look like I've just slapped some paint on. I want it to look a bit more than I've just slapped some paint on. So it maybe stands out a bit from your average sort of stuff you see on a tabletop. But at the same time, I don't want to spend 6 weeks painting one thing. Even though, because I do it on this show, I tend to spend 6 weeks painting each thing. Yeah, it's... never mind. The thinking is basically it'd be like as if I spent a week, same like my Chimera, if I spent, say, a week painting my Chimera. It's probably about how long it took me over the course of all these shows, it's probably about a week's worth of work. Or maybe 3 or 4 days, I don't know, something like that. If you take all the work, because I did work off camera as well. Joe Jeffrey, welcome Joe Jeffrey, says, what are you making, Fox? Apart from a sniffly nose, which I can't get rid of, I've suddenly got. I'm making the Age of Sigmar Lord Celestant on a Star Drake. Basically a space horse, Shouty space horse. And I think I'm going to go for the Lord Celestant, not the Drake's Worn Templar. Because although the Drake's Worn Templar gets a really mint bow, like bow and arrow bow, on the back of his saddle, which looks mint. I just like all the little things on the back of the Lord Celestant, the little sort of straps on the back of him. So I think I might go for that one. And I say, because I am going to be selling it, I can't really go off canon and just do a funky random thing. I can't really give him the bow, because the bow counts as a weapon. It's, if I remember rightly, it is the Skybolt bow, which counts as a weapon. It's got a 24-inch range. It's basically like a missile launcher effect, but with a bow and arrow. 1 attacks, 3 to hit, 3 to wound, rend 1 and damage 1. So I can't just stick that. If I want to build him, I can't just whap the bow on the back, because it's not included in his stats. The Lord Celestant doesn't get the bow; he just gets the hammer, the blade, and the claws. The Star Drake's great claws. So because I'm building it to sell, and I'm assuming obviously somebody might just buy it to have it on a shelf, which is fine, but somebody might want to buy it to play in a game. So I can't kind of break the canon and start having weapons here and there. So I've got to stick to the sort of guided weapons, really. The weapons on the charts. So now we've got a little seam line down the middle. So what I'm going to do, because it's not a seam line where there's an actual physical join, I can just scrape it away with my mold line removal tool, available from all Games Workshop stores and the Games Workshop website. It's brilliant. You need this tool. If you haven't got one, why? Get one. Shut up. Just do it. Do it now. I'm going to scrape it away to get rid of the mold line. A little bit of delicate sanding to smooth that off, and then go back in with my Tibia scribing tool and just very gently, very lightly, and very almost on camera, just re-scribe in the gaps between the sort of rows of skin texture. It's like rows of, I don't know what you call them. What do you call the individual blob on the sort of skin? Just want to re-scribe that gently, just very gently, just to make it a recess again, so it doesn't look soft. Because when I sanded it then, it just softens it ever so slightly. So I want it to look just pronounced again. There you go. You never know it was there. So when you've got them on these bits in the middle where it's not in the middle of a join, they're actually fine. They're easy to get rid of. That's all you need to do. Fluffy Guts says, good afternoon from Orkney. Scott, you're not alone. Fluffy Guts, you may not know this, but Scott, who is also in chat, Scott Sutherland, guess where Scott Sutherland is right now? You probably know each other. You might be like the only 2 people on Orkney. I know only about 6 people live on Orkney. Scott, do you guys know each other? Cool. You might even live next door. Who can say? But welcome. I shall just put that there. I've still not found somewhere to put it yet, Scott. But I'll find somewhere. I want to put it on my Crusader case, but I don't want to like waste it. I've got to put it somewhere nice and special. I could put it on my car, but I don't know how it would survive the outside world. So, yes. Simon Reynolds says, in before Mama Fox buys it. Yeah. For those that don't know, I had I've got a Patreon page, and Patreon every now and then sends you a survey. And when you do their little surveys, like, how do you find it? Are you liking the service? You can win $100 Amazon vouchers. And I did one of the surveys. I do them all the time. And I won $100 Amazon. I'm like, yay! And then within a week, I forgot I'd won it. So about 3 months later, I'm like, oh crap! I've got like $80 quid's worth of vouchers I've not spent yet. So I decided I'd go on Amazon and get myself a Bane blade, because I fancied a Bane blade for my army. Big tank, fun to paint, fun to weather, and yet nobody on Amazon actually sells them. The only 2 that are on the listings are like $200, and I'm like, what? 200 quid? What? Why? So in the end, I came up with 3 using my vouchers, and my choice was the Lord of Change. I had the Archaon the Ever-Chosen, which was a little bit more than my vouchers, but only a bit, or the Star Drake. And I couldn't decide which one, because they're all awesome. Although I think I was kind of, if I was choice between the Lord of Change or Archaon, I probably would have gone for Archaon, because he's bigger. And so I thought, I can't decide. I said, Mama Fox, here's 3 things, which one should I get? And she went, get that one. Get the big Shouty Space Horse. So it's like, cool, Shouty Space Horse it is. But yes, you might not know, but Mama Fox does actually buy my builds sometimes. She actually likes this kind of stuff. She's got a lot of the stuff that's in my cabinet downstairs is actually Not stuff that I haven't sold, but just stuff that I've sold, but Mama Fox bought it. I do say to her, don't buy my stuff just to, just to give me money. And you don't need to. She said, no, I want to buy your stuff because it's great. I like it. Okay, cool. So yeah, I've got some of my builds in cabinets downstairs are ones that show as sold on my website, and they are because it was Mama Fox that bought them. But yes, because she chose this one, because I said I can't choose one of these three. Just tell me which one you think's the coolest, and she went that one. I'm like, okay, cool. Now I'm not going to sand this half of the shield because this bit goes with that bit there on the leg. It will fit together like how's this going to fit together? It's going to fit together like roughly like that, and then this will sit on top. But I don't want to sand it yet because if you remember last week I was saying when you've got well, actually no, the last show I did I was saying when you've got like a tube object or anything like that, or a cylinder or tube, and you've got two halves that come together, if you sand them individually you'll end up with a step because you'll sand them different amounts. So always make sure if you've got something like a cylinder or a tube or that kind of shape where it's a curved surface, a compound curve, put them together first, then sand it later and get rid of the nubs, get rid of most of the nub because that way it can all match up. I need to clear my throat, 1 second. Sorry about that. Oh. Let's have a look. Paul Di Tommaso's in. He says, hello everyone, all is well here at the Canadian Candy Factory. Still feeling a little blur from the cold I had all week. Oh no, don't have a cold. Mama Fox is a bit poorly sick. She's in bed at the minute because she's got poorly sick bug from somewhere. Brian Fester says, the meds haven't kicked in yet to allow for proper punctuation. As for the plastic, I'm handling it with extra care and using the extra give in it to my advantage. There we go. Walter Wilmoth says, be back, steak and eggs with the side of country ham are calling me and my namesake. Ooh, it's calling me. Fluffy Gut says, yeah, I can Scott fine. Simon Reynolds, Team Inept says, they're in capitals. There are 2 people in Orkney with electricity. I know. What are the odds? Scott Sutherland says, yes, we know each other. I told you, there's only 4 people that live in Orkney. Maybe 6. Don't know. If they get a tourist rush, there might be 8. Sticker will be okay on your car, but the puffing clears off in the autumn, says Dad. Note how Scott translated for the group. Scott's got some cracking tanks, says Fluffy Guts. Yeah, Scott loves his IDF stuff. His Israeli Defence Force tanks and vehicles. Simon Reynolds says, I'd guess you just call them folds of the skin. Yeah, it's not so much like the... Let me zoom in again. It's not so much... Anybody who's into like creatures and biology and stuff will know. Are there any skin scientists out there? Any animal scientists? Not necessarily just like the skin itself, but the little individual sort of squares or blobs that make up this texture. There must be a name for the individual sort of like a block and like a block there and a blob there, and there must be a name for that individual. Like, are they called? I don't know. Blobs, blocks. Who can say? There must be a word. Surely somebody out there must be a dragon scientist of some sort. A lizard scientist. Chris says at Grace Models, it's not my germ. Oh, Paul says they're scales, you Burke. I don't know, are they? Because scales are like... Those are scales on the back. This is the soft, fleshy, seamy underbelly. This is the soft, fleshy bit, like you get chicken legs. Would they be scales? Maybe they would. Maybe they would. Derma Blob, says Dad. Team Inept says face palm. Maybe they are. I don't know. Fluffy Gut says, it's not really electricity. We use witchcraft. Oh, there you go. That's it. I mean, you might say scales. I don't know, because it is the squishy, soft bit. Like the chicken legs, rather than the scaly bits. Scales suggest hard skin, but this would be just tough skin, leathery skin. Which one have I done now? This is the one I've done here. Now, I don't know if you'll see on camera. I'll zoom in again. It won't come out on camera because I'm zoomed in and quality will be ass. But when I've sanded that and I've gone over with the scriber to put the little lines back in, there's some little bits of graininess where it's got little... Sometimes plastic, when you sand it, you'll get little fibres that stick out. It just goes a bit fluffy, and this is what Cyrus is talking about. I'm going to get my extra thin, and I'm just going to run it along where that panel line, that seam line was. And what it's going to do is go down into the recesses that I've just scribed. It's going to soften any remaining sticky up bit of panel line or seam line. And all those bits I've just scribed, it's also going to soften the edges of that. So if you've been doing any kind of scribing, not like a panel line on a Gumpler because that needs to be crisp, but like on anything organic where I've scribed a line, just to soften the edges, get rid of any fluff or fuzz or anything like that. So just soften that nice. Now I can't handle that now because I put fingerprints all over it. Fluffy Gut says it's not. He says, well, with elephants, that wrinkled skin traps moisture. Not sure about dragons. You're an elephant scientist, I can tell. I have a degree in elephant science, but that would make sense, trapping moisture. I don't know what kind of environment a star drake would live in. And is a star drake a dragon or just a big shouty space horse? I don't really know. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. So we're gonna get rid of the seams on the little mould lines, on the little dew claws, or whatever you want to call these little fellows. And the claw there that goes down the front. Now there isn't a seam line or mould line running down the middle of any of this stuff, which is rather nice, which is most excellent. Now, there is a nub on here, but this goes on. You're not going to see this bit. This isn't where, when I was saying about if you get a cylinder or a compound curve, sand them all together. This is actually the bit that goes underneath, so it doesn't matter about that. I don't have to clear it off. I just need to make the nub go away so it doesn't end up making things stick on it. It doesn't stop this sticking properly. That's there. So then this needs to quite simply be attached together. Like this, you see. That goes like that there. Now you can see here we're going to have this seam line right down the middle here. So we're going to do our best with it, but I'm not going to hold out much hope that that's going to vanish completely because it's just not going to go away. You're not going to get rid of it. So we'll take the extra thin. I shall first and all, get some glue down there. I'm going to run the glue along here just to get it to go in. Am I on camera? Almost. Hey, almost. I'm being generous with the glue though. I want it to obviously seep down into the gap, which is the beauty of extra thin, but I want it to soften that edge a bit as well. Because what I want to do is very gently squish it. Just very gently. And if it pulls a little bit, that's fine because it's just going to make soft squishy plastic that will then blend and look like bits of skin, which is perfect. So I can be a bit more generous there. Because the difficulty with these is you do get other parts where there's lines, parallel lines to that go across, but they only go for say 3 or 4 strips. They don't go all the way along. So it's just trying to, you can't really get rid of it, I say, without majorly resculpting all the skin texture, which I can't be bothered doing because that's a job for somebody who can actually sculpt. I can't sculpt. But if you can just hide it and disguise it as best you can, then that's fine. Some glue down there. That's that. I'm going to push it together gently. Now I don't want to push it. It's not like when you do a Gunpla and you push 2 things together so the plastic bubbles out. I don't particularly want to do that. But I want it to squish a bit. Okay. And the idea is it's just I mean, from a certain light, you can still see, I don't know if you'll see on camera, you can still see there's a line there. But once it's all dried, if I do some very careful filing and perhaps a little bit of scribing, it might just take it from looking like an obvious bit where 2 pieces went together and change it into not that obvious. Now there are 2 little bits of this leather strap here that I'm going to have to fill in with something. And I might have to use a tiny amount of sprue glue just to fill these 2 little bits here. Because those are 2 little bits where there shouldn't be a gap. And that might, just filling those 2 in and making a consistent single leather strap might actually help that look less fake and more organic. So we shall see. Now I need to put the rest of that little knee pad thing on. So that can just go here. And we shall gently, gently slap-a-tate it on there, like that, we say. Slappity, slappity. Get it all locked in. Get a little bit of glue down the middle. Like that. And then carefully squish it together very, very gently. I don't want a lot of glue coming out again, like I did with the skin. I want a little tiny bit of glue squooging out, but not massive amounts. Just enough that I can, if necessary, squish back with the scribing tool, with the seam tool or with the sander. But I don't want a lot because there's rivet detail that I don't want to have to try and sand around. So I'm going to, when it does dry, I'll be sanding around on this blank spot here, sanding or using this thing. There's a little bit on that bit of trim there, and then there's this bit here, but that bit I'll probably go nowhere near it because I'll just destroy the panel with the rivet detail. So we'll leave that bit. Maybe I'll try and squish it in the middle here, just to fill that gap. With practice, you can get quite good at using glue to fill seams so that when it comes to later on, you don't have to use things like fillers. Basically, if I can avoid using fillers and putties and things like that, as much as possible I will. As much as possible, I will just use either the glue I'm building it with, or I'll use sprue glue. Now, sprue glue has its uses, but it's not every single thing you can fill with sprue glue. It doesn't do great for massive gaps, obviously. But for little gaps and things, it's fine if you need it. Snowman says, a friend I knew from school, we had him believe they used gas-powered TV in Orkney and you couldn't smoke during EastEnders, so the TV didn't blow up. Star Drakes are celestial beings, according to the fluff, says Fraser Davis. Drake, I believe, is from Draco, which is dragon to us commoners. I'm going for dragon, says Spid. Scott says, Fluffy Guts, we need to encourage Fox to come visit. I want to come visit. I will do one day when I've got the money to do so. And also I can trust my car to make it. Only way he's going to see a puffin. A real puffin. I know. And a fudge factory. Oh, can I just go and stay in the fudge factory for a week? That'd be great. Scott Sutherland says, poor Fox, last seen chasing a puffin with a handful of fudge. What, the puffin had a handful of fudge? I'd be chasing that thing if it had a handful of fudge. Old D says, hello. Hey, Old D. Spiddy Karate says, don't be silly, Scott, puffins don't have hands. That you know of. Spid, that you know of. How do you know? You can't put a sprue glue into that without asking him first. I've lost that. Right. Oh, I see. You can't put a sprue glue in that without asking him. I get you. It's a consent joke. Yes. So put that to one side. I shall put it. I shall put it there. I'll put it there. Just leave it. I don't want to get dust on it. I'll put it there. I'll put it over there. I'll keep moving it around just to mess with people. So the next one, we have another leg. We have 21, 20 and 22. So it's going to be the same again. Although bizarrely, we haven't put the foots on that leg yet. Do that at some point. Oh yes, later on, I see. Right, so 20, 21 and 22. See, this is a bit like doing a Gunpla when you get like 2 arms and 2 legs and you get bored. When you've done one of them, you get bored, but you've got to do 3 more. 20, 21 and 22. So 20. So we've got 21 there. 21. A bit of number on that one because it's an armour part. We have 20. Really don't like them putting these nubs right in the middle of the armour plates. It's really annoying. At least on skin parts you can creatively hide any nubs or evidence of nubs. 20, 21, 22, so I'm missing. Was it 20? 21, 22. 22 is the other half of the knee armour, which is there. There, you see. There she is. There she is. Not so crippled as we were led to believe. Sorry, rephrase that. Got the line wrong. Not so helpless as we were led to believe. So I'll take a little bit. I'm not going to leave all that nub off though, because again, it's half of the knee plate armour. I want to leave some of it on. I'll trim it later when we do the sandy. This bit is underneath, so it doesn't really matter, but I'll get rid of the nub so it's smooth. That's the bit onto which the armour plate actually goes, so it doesn't matter if it's not cosmetically nice. It doesn't actually matter at all. That can be sanded. That nub needs to come off a little bit. Just a tiny amount. LD says, don't buy the new Silver Bullet Gundam that's got 5 arms, I think. Yeah. Model making puffins, says Spid. Dad says, I've already said he can gladly jump aboard my next visit, Scott. Yes, I will do. I need to accrue some funds to allow me to buy all the fudge in the world when I get there. But I shall do. I need to come to Orkney. Orkney. I want to come and see Skara Brae and all the cool archaeology as well. It's not just about the puffins. Although it is just about the puffins. I like my archaeology as well. So, why am I doing that bit when I've got this bit to do still? Nah, I know Scott's not a puffin, says Dad. I know. I've been up there for a week with him. How do you know it wasn't just like, you get like 3 puffins under a long greatcoat and a mask? Who's been texting me? People texting me. You're zoomed in still, says Mike Mountain on text message. Thanks, Dad. Yeah. I'm a tool, what can I say? There we go. Thanks, Dad. Yeah, if you know my mobile number and if you need to get hold of me, best way to do it during a live stream, send me a text. Okay, so that can go there. He's on to us. Scott says, personal guided tour of Ortak as well, Fox. Cool. Most kind. Do you guys do any like really, really cheap rings? I've decided what I need to do is I've only got 1 ring. I need to have lots of rings. I need to have that kind of model building hands where you've got rings everywhere. Maybe one of those ones that looks like a piece of armour where it's got the joint in the middle. I don't know. Maybe something like that. I need more rings. But I've got no money. So I need to find some cheap, awesome jewellery. I don't mean Ponzi rings like that. I mean like, I've got some toothpaste on that. I've got toothpaste on me. Never mind. I need to go and clean that. Yeah, kind of not gothic-y type stuff, not that kind of emo goth stuff, but I need to get more hand jewellery just to make my hands more interesting to look at. If you look at most leading like video model maker types, they always have loads of rings and things. I'm like, yeah, I need that. It's been ages since I've had lots of jewellery on my hands. I used to have loads of rings. They all kind of fell apart or broke over the years, or I've lost them. Fluffy Gut says, I think I can handle some guided tours of the historic sites, seeing as I worked at most of them. Cool. I can't promise that I won't walk around sounding like Phil from Time Team. All right, Tony, look at that stratification there. That's great. That's ancient Roman, Neolithic, Bronze Age, Viking. Yeah. I'll try and bring a sweat-stained hat as well. Quanomon needs a Voltron ring. Scott Sutherland says, find your ring size, I can make you some, Fox. Yeah, I haven't got any money, dude. I can't afford proper jewellery. I have to go to like market stores and look for shady stuff that costs like a few quid. That might last me a year. Do. Wow, that was almost the Golden Girls theme tune I randomly hummed then. I don't know why, but now it's in my head. Thanks, Obama. Speedy Curator says, good thing you didn't accept. I don't know if Orkney could deal with the population explosion of you moving there. Orkney population increases by 100%. What happened? Somebody came to visit. Oh, right, okay. Is that smooth or is that still... I've given him a knobbly claw. That's not right. Let's sand this thing down. Now, the thing with this Star Drake, right, if you look at all the arty work, when it comes to his horns on his head and his claws, they're all kind of dark colours. They're all kind of like greys and a lot of times you see these creatures in the Warhammer stuff. They always got like these grey and dark coloured teeth. A lot of the Chaos demonic stuff has like grey and black teeth. I'm like, no, it's not visually interesting or correct. It's just nonsense. So I think with this guy, I will be giving him actual kind of horn-coloured horns, bone-coloured horns rather than dark things, because grey just looks like you couldn't be bothered painting it properly. So I think we'll be doing proper bone-coloured horn type textures and things on this space horse. It's my space horse. Although I can't put custom things on, I can't go too far out of the playable canon for the figure or anything like that. I can paint him however I want. So he might have some proper coloured claws and that. Simon Reynolds says, right, 9 Haribo rings equals sorted. Crazy fool. Fluffy Gut says, the island sinks under the weight of 2 extra people. Got caught in rush hour while I was there, says Dad. 2 cars were in a queue. And now I've just got a memory of the that rum advert where there's a bus parked on the street and there's a guy behind. There was some rum company, I think it was rum, and they had these series of adverts, and they're all set on like a cliche version of Jamaica. So, for example, one of my favourite ones was there was basically a street with a bus at the bus stop picking somebody up, and behind it was a bloke on a bicycle, and that was it. That was the entire traffic, and the guys behind it saying, "Oh man, total gridlock." I can't do the accent. I'll try. He just said basically, "Oh man, total gridlock," and it's just a bus and a bicycle. That was kind of the idea of those. I remember those adverts. Was it for Malibu? I can't remember what it was for now. No, it wasn't Malibu. It was some kind of rum. Yeah, Speedy Curator says, "Oh man, it's total gridlock." It was Malibu. Great ad, yeah. Don't worry about price, Fox. I need to make some pieces for registering my Maker's Hallmark. Oh yeah, Scott's getting his Maker's Hallmark. Pretty soon, if you see a piece of jewellery, it's got a special hallmark on it. It might be from Scott. He might have its own hallmark. Okay, Scott. Well, in that case, I'll try and find out. I used to know what size ring finger I was, but I've got fat since then. It's all changed. It's all gone wrong. Cheers, dude. So, I don't know if you want to explain to people in chat what it is you're doing with your hallmark. How does it work? Do you have to do like some? Do you have to like not sit an exam, but submit some pieces and say, "Here you go. I'm a proper jewelry maker type, and this is how good I am. Please give me a hallmark." Do you have to submit pieces to become qualified? Is that how it works? Or is it like a GCSE where you got to do like half-written projects and I don't know how it works? You can just tell us in chat how it works and then we'll all know. Sounds awesome though. You'll have a maker's mark, just like the whiskey. That's there. Little tiny seam line on the back. Tiny seam line. Make boom hut rings, says Scott Sutherland. How do you make a ring? A treehouse ring. Sticker question: how big is Fox's ring finger? Says Paul at Team Inept. Yes, very good. I would have expected no less from you and no more. Let's just be honest. Fluffy Gut says Scott is a talented chap. He is. Dad says he's got his own skid mark. Yeah, okay. Yeah, as opposed to like a maker's mark. Let's have a look. Speed says, sounds cool, Scott, your own hallmark. The melon stall, you have to take a ticket, that's right. Yeah, when you finish watching this, and when you've actually gone to Bardic Broadcasts and watched his Why Hero Quest is So Great video, which is required viewing for anybody with any interest in tabletop world, or model making, or anybody who wants to, exist in the same universe as me. Go and do a search for Malibu adverts. Malibu's the drink. And they are funny. There's one bit where there's some guy, I think he's on the dock side, he's just trying to buy a melon off something, and somebody's shouting at him like his mum, and he's like, oh man, I just want to buy a melon. I just want to buy a melon. Or the guy's trying to give him all these different options. He's like, I just want to buy a melon. Oh, it's just kind of, it's really playing on the idea that the life on the island is so tranquil and relaxed. There's nothing to be stressed about. Right, so I need to clean this one up. That melon is for display purposes only, says Paul. Do we need them again? Yes. Maybe for this bit here. Little tiny nub. Nope, not coming off. You being a pain? Yes. Yes, you're not going to come off, are you? Gosh darn it. Who remembers cigarette and cigar adverts? Oh, yeah. When I was a young lad, a young shaver of a lad in the 1970s and 1980s, we used to go to Pontins in Blackpool every year for our summer holiday. 2 weeks in Pontins it was, in Blackpool. And I was like 7. It was the best thing ever. And they used to have, amongst many other delights, they had like a, I don't know what you call it. It's like the place all the families would go in the evening to have a beer. It's like a cabaret hall type thing where you all sit at a table and you have your beer and you listen to the talent on stage, or you just run around if you're a kid. But they used to split the camp into 2 teams to compete against each other in silly things like little competitions and stuff. Because in this cabaret hall of an evening, as well as the talent on people coming on doing their acts, they'd have like competitions and stuff. And they split the entire camp into 2 teams, into 2 houses, who were House Embassy and House Castella. I mean, seriously, they split the camp into 2 teams, each one named after either a cigarette or a cigar. I mean, how 1970s could you get? I assume they were maybe sponsored by, I don't know, because are you House Embassy or House Castella? So yeah, fond memories. Back of those days. And of course, yes, in those days you could smoke like a chimney at your table because the teams were named after such products. So yeah. It was Malibu that did the hands-free phone, and this one's got a phone book, which is a book taped to the back of a Motorola brick phone. I think it was, yeah. Earl D says, Hamlet the mild cigar. And he says that's why I'm here to plant earworms. Unfortunately, when I think of Hamlet the mild cigar, all I get is the Black Magic Chocolates music. So that's obviously failed miserably, isn't it? Failed miserably in planting an earworm there, dude. Planted an earworm, but not the right one. Right, so that is that. A little bit of a line there, which will fix. I used to work in the Biscuit Club, and the Captain Morgan was next door. 70s, yeah, says Dave Cardboard. Scott says, my family got me the mark for my birthday. I'm still in the process of getting it registered with the Assay office in Edinburgh. My mark will be a shamrock with my initials inside it. Cool. Awesome. Speedy Curate says, well done, young'un. Not bad for a 12-year-old. Here's your prize, a pack of Players number 6. Players number 6 and a six-can pack of... I'm trying to think of the beer that my mum and dad used to drink. Breaker. 12-can pack of Breaker beer. There you go. Because my mum and dad used to... In the 70s, mum and dad used to smoke Players. Player Special. I remember a B&H advert with the cool kid at a disco getting all the ladies, says LD. Yeah, back in the days, tobacco adverts. Halcyon days. Not. Right, that needs to go here, like this. I'm not even going to read the instructions, I'm going to guess now. That goes on there like that, you'll see. Oh, yes. So it's going to be exactly the same with this puppy here. Get the gluing going on. Scott says, the baby bracelet I'm making for my niece will be the first piece of my mark, hopefully. Oh, that's sweet. It's cool, dude. It's nice that you got that for your birthday. That's really awesome. Having some glue brush issues here. I tried dragging the... hang on, I know what I need to do. I tried pulling the brush down on my glue so it would get to the bottom of the... That's a bit weird. If you didn't know, on Tamiya glue dispensers, you can pull this brush piece out and you can make it longer for when you get down to the bottom. The difficulty is all the brushes stay in the same place. That wasn't the idea. There it's better. Unfortunately, the brushes were staying where they were, so I was losing my brush. My brush was getting smaller and smaller, which was not awesome. There we go. Right, where were we? Get some glue going on in here, you see? Now, this is a big old gap here. Ooh, big nasty gap. That's not very good. Ooh. Get some glue in there. Am I even on camera? Probably not. Yes, you can pull your little brush further out if your glue starts getting a bit low. Well, the problem is it does seem to not pull the brushes out, which is weird. Pull those out and then pull it back in again. But it's not ideal, because if you get it too long, it just squishes down at the bottom of the jar, and then you end up with bristles sticking out everywhere. Okay, that's there. A little bit of glue on that bit there. This is a really big gap. I'm not going to be able to hide this one very well with the squishy, but we'll see. We've got a good generous amount of glue going on in there, and we'll run it around that gap. And then we will go like this, you'll see. Squish it a little bit. Not as bad as the gaps in the new Warlord games resin tanks, says Fluffy Guts. Oh, resin. I remember the high karate aftershave advert. Hot ladies karate chopping through walls to get to the guy wearing it. Yeah, it was all lies. Lies in advertising. I think her name was Caroline Monroe, Spiddy. Started my healthy eating lifestyle today. Avocado, bacon and poached eggs lunch. That actually sounds really nice, that LD. Okay, well I've squished these together, and through the power of putting far too much glue on there, it seems to have nicely hidden the gap a fair bit. It's still there if you hold it up to the right light, but I think with a very delicate sand later on it and a little bit of a scribe on the horizontal lines, it might look pretty darn good. And again, here you've got the leather straps. Again, there's a tiny little gap I'll need to fill with some sprue glue, but nothing too major. We can put the other bit of knee armour on there now, which can go on here like that, you see. Get a little bit of glue down the middle, but not too much, because I don't want to drown it. We'll just gently push those two together. Again, you've got a bit of a big gap down that middle bit there. That's a bit annoying. It's very annoying. Yeah, big gap there. That's not very pleasant. And that's not just a squishy together. That's actually, it doesn't actually go together gap. It's quite significant, that one. That might require a bit of sprue glue, I think, on there maybe. I mean, this gap here, that will again, because it's a compound curve with a seam down the middle or a crease down the middle like armour. That can be easily sanded to look fine. This bit here is going to need some remedial work. Remedial work. I've not got rid of the nub there because I'll clean that off when I do the sanding, which I'll have to do carefully because I don't want to remove all the lightning effect details. Okay, so that's that leg done. I'll put that to one side and try not to touch it. Cup of tea, swig of tea. Oh. Remember how men's hairspray used to have butch names and black cans? Same silver crin ladies used inside. Yeah, pretty much. Spiddy Curate says needs to get some high karate now. It's mostly resin with some metal parts, and none of it fit, says Fluffy Guts. Wow. Don't ever buy Forge World then, because yeah. Okay, so now we need to. Oh, we've got to put a foot on this one as well, which is part 23. Look at the muscularity. Piece 23. I do apologise to Bardic Broadcast for completely ripping off his little catchphrases, but they are so good. I'm sure he'll contact me if he's unhappy. I do tell people to go and watch his video though, so it's funny though, because if you watch his stuff, most of his stuff is nowhere near as funny as that. He's got a good sense of humour on him, and some of his stuff is funny, but that is by far the funniest thing on his channel, and it's got like over 1 million views, or 2 million views, I think, more than that, because it's just so good. It kind of went a bit viral. His other stuff, he tends to review like action figures and some stuff like that. He does unboxings of other tabletop games, and he's quite amusing, but I think a lot of his videos are quite old now. He doesn't publish videos very often. A lot of them are really old. But yeah, that one particular video it just set on fire basically. It got millions of views. Look at the muscularity. Someone did say he's like an Australian version of me when I had my long hair and beard. Yes. Oh heck, I don't have the money for Forge World, lol, says Fluffy Guts. I've only actually bought one thing from them, and that is I've got a squad of 10 Death Corps of Krieg. I haven't even built them yet, because I can't really do any resin building on a live stream, because of course you have to wear a mask. So there's no point me trying to do a live stream while I'm wearing a mask. It's just, all you'd hear is so I'll get them assembled at some point. I'm not that happy with the quality of them, but then again, it's a 10-year-old or almost 10-year-old set of figures, so of course they're not going to be fantastic mould quality anymore. There's a few soft fluffy details. Unfortunately, the soft fuzzy details are things like the Aquila on the helmet, which is kind of annoying. The one detail you want to be nice and crisp is the helmet Aquila, but never mind. The crest on the front, it's like, oh, you bugger. High karate all the way, says Spid. What was the deodorant ad with the guy chasing the girl with flowers? And was that not Timotei shampoo? I'm sure there was one with a long-haired guy with a huge Frank Zappa moustache. Wasn't Timotei some woman in a field full of flowers or something? I don't know. We'll just sand this down a bit. Don't have to be too worried about these little details here, because they are actually just rocks. So I just need to get them flat. I don't have to worry about them too much though. No, Fox, just unboxings, cracking up. Oh, that's a cracking unboxings. Yes, he does cracking unboxings and cracking reboxings. It's quite good. Never seen it before. He basically takes, say, a game he's not played for a long time, or he's finished playing, and he reboxes it. He basically puts it back in the box as if to say it's going to go back in the box and never be touched again. He's reboxing. Oh no, Mormons! If there was a way for me to go back in time, steal everything in that video and make that video for myself before he made it, that'd be brilliant. That'd be absolutely fantastic. Not going to happen though, is it? Damn it, I'll never have an idea as good as that. Much as I may try, I never will. Fluffy Gut says, my new product is an British Army for black powder. Ooh. Little old looking over the counter at a burger and says, where's the beef? Little old what? Little old lady looking over the counter at a burger and says, where's the beef? Where's that come from? What? Have I missed something there? Timotei was the last washing her hair in a stream. That was the one. That was the one. Wasn't she eating a flake at the same time or something? Provocatively in some way? I can't remember. Oh no, I'm joking. I know she didn't. I'm joking. Yeah, it's like, I remember back in the day when adverts were quite provocative like that. I remember it was about 6 or 7 years ago. There was uproar in the UK because there was an advert for something. I can't remember what it was. There was an advert for something on during the day, and it was like I think it was like a sort of men's shampoo or something, or what it was. It was something totally innocuous. But the advert was that at one point, some guy, like, in bed, he gets out of bed and walks across the bathroom, but, like, butt naked. So you see a gentleman's bottom on the television during the daytime hours. And then basically the entire country just came to a standstill. But then within about 5 minutes, within about a week, it was like, yeah, whatever. Don't really care. Can't remember what it was an advert for, though, so it clearly wasn't that successful. It was like an advert for, I don't know, shampoo or dog food or something, or some blokey advert. It's not the best way, because that's the weird thing. It's like, you know, the best way to advertise a men's product is probably not with a naked, alluring-looking bloke, because most blokes wouldn't look at that. So there you go. Random commercial that came to mind was always remembered. Yes. Oh, right, I see what you mean. Hi all, Forge World Imperial Strike Fighter any good? Asks Paul Davey. I've only got one Forge World thing. That's a bunch of dudes. I've not even made them yet. So Si might know. Si, Imperial Strike Fighter, Forge World, any good? I don't even know what it is without looking at it. I guess with all those things, it depends how old they are. Because, I mean, I've looked at some videos where, you know, I can't remember the guy's channel. I do apologize. There's a guy that does lots of Forge World stuff. He tends to do just Forge World and just Horus Heresy. And he always starts by saying, hello, fans of the Horus Heresy. I can't remember what his name is. Good bloke, good channel. And he's building some, like, brand new stuff that's only been out, like, you know, 6 months. And he's having fit issues and sending parts back. Can't remember what channel that is, though. It always goes on, hello, fans of the Horus Heresy. Oh. I do fancy Leaky Cheese, says the Bringer. That's the one, Leaky Cheese. Yeah, he's got a good channel. But I do fancy doing some Forge World, but A, I hate resin because it's a ball ache, and B, it's still expensive. But I don't mind the expensive bit. It's just one day they'll just do Death Core of Krieg in plastic, and I will buy every single goddamn model they release. Every single model they release. If they did plastic Death Core of Krieg, I would buy every single goddamn one. I'd just get a mortgage and buy them all. Because how can you not like Death Core of Krieg? It's just extreme nonsense, which appeals to me greatly. Oh, that's nice. There's a big honking gap there that I can't really do much with, I don't think. Okay, so I'm going to get some glue in there. Almost snap fit, that. It just almost snaps together. But there's a big fat gap right down the middle there. Right down the middle. I don't really know what I can do with that, to be perfectly frank. I will always try and avoid as much as possible going anywhere near fillers and putties, because primarily because I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered with fillers and putties. They're just too much like hard work. And if you haven't figured it out yet, the major point of my channel is to show how to do all these things with the minimum effort. Because pretty much I'm lazy. But I like to... It's not really because I'm lazy. I like to show... The whole point of my channel is to show people that are inexperienced and beginners that a lot of the things that look like dark arts and dark magic are actually not that scary and not that hard. This is coming out again. Hang on. Where's me pliers gone? Technical issues again with this damn brush. Did he? Yeah, so my real purpose is to show people that it isn't actually that hard to do a lot of the things that look like dark magic. Come out. You go out, you go in. There we go. So keeping things simple. KISS, as they say. Keep it simple, stupid. Keeping things simple and not going into massively complex techniques is always a goal of mine. Because, I mean, you know, working with resin can be dead simple. It can be, if it's a good resin kit, like I did the Wasteland Warfare figures, the Fallout 4 Wasteland Warfare, they were deliciously simple because they were beautifully made and they went together like a dream and there were no issues with them at all whatsoever. So I didn't do any, apart from one little tiny bit, I didn't do any custom work. Whereas you get an old Forge World kit, that could be like, you could have to reshape, remold, reheat, sculpt, fill, all kinds of nonsense. And that's not something you can dumb down, as it were, really. Or reduce to a simple technique. It's not that simple. Right, so that's got a clawy foot on there. With you there, Deathcore, the best armies they've ever done, says the Print Guru. I just love the idea of them. They look fantastic. They've got great coats. I completely love great coats. Great coats are my thing. They've got great coats. Winner. They're also wearing gas masks all the time. Winner. No face. And they look like mint. Excellent. Gross Model says, I should probably start thinking how I'm going to paint my knobs tonight. Here's the thing, Chris. Here's the thing, right? The brushes that look like that, don't use them. Don't use them anymore. When you're doing figures, you want all your layer brushes and your other brushes. Don't be using your big brushes. Don't do it at all. And because they're figures, what you don't want to do is, you know, when you get paint on your wet palette and you get a dot of paint in there and then you get some water and you mix that in on the wet palette, because it's figures, it's a bit different. Don't put any extra water in the paint. Just get the paint on the wet palette and that's all you need. Don't put any extra water in there. Because if you're doing them with like thin watery coats, like, it's going to take you forever. You don't want to do that with figures. It's much more fun. And small things like that, just get the paint from the pot on the wet palette. That's as moist as it needs to be. Trust me. Apart from when you're doing edge highlights and things, and that's where you've got a really fine pointy brush. But you don't want to be using your big brush tonight. You want to put your Bob Ross 2-inch brush away and go for your detailed bushings. George Gabriel, good morning all. Welcome, George. I wish Forge World would switch to plastic, says Gas Vickers. They never will, because Forge World and Games Workshop are two totally different companies under the same umbrella. They're both owned by Games Workshop, but you've got Games Workshop, the plastic making model company, and Forge World just exists to make resin. So they're never going to not do resin, because that's like asking Michelin not to do tyres and just do restaurants. Yeah. So they'll always do resin, but I think what they do is they try to keep them to the less likely to sell in their millions kind of parts of the market, which is a shame, because if they did plastic Deathcore or Krieg, people would be all over that shizzle like nobody's business. I mean, some of the Horus Heresy stuff, yeah, they might not sell them in such big numbers, so that's probably why they do that on Forge World. But they've got to do something on Forge World, obviously. And they do lots of little sort of things for customization, but I just wish they'd do some Deathcore in plastic. I mean, some of the Deathcore tanks look fantastic. The Machinarius pattern tanks, they look absolutely incredible, but they're like 150 quid, which, okay, I could save up, but then again, I just know I'm going to get fit issues, so I'm like, oh. Have a quick look at chat, and then what we need to do is do some stickery giveaways. George Gabriel says, I just found out my kids nicked my cap to pretend to be me. Now I have to figure out where they put it. Is that the Gross Models cap or your Shanghai Dragons cap? Fluffy Guts, I've got to head off and take one of my cats for a walk. You'll have fun. Take a cat for a walk. Is it wearing like a lead, like a harness? It's cool. Most people just throw them out. Chris says, see that? Someone mentions pink paint and George appears. Let's have a look. I put decals over seam lines if I don't want to get them filled, says Earl D. Sometimes. Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of times, when I've got things like seam lines and stuff that I want to hide, I'll do, if it's like a tank or a vehicle, I'll do things like, I'll add details, I'll add greebles, I'll add, I think somebody mentioned saddlebags, like, you know, rolled up bed rolls and things, depending on the scale. If it's a military vehicle, I'll do things like bed rolls and backpacks and things. When I did the little Imperial Skitter, that FML90 that I converted into Warhammer thing, I just added loads of Warhammer extra bits from the tank extras kit, and backpacks and spare things like that. Always good if you can hide a seam line with deviousness rather than actual filling, then there's no reason not to. It doesn't do any harm at all, especially if it's just making something up. Like if I wanted to hide, say, that seam line there, and there wasn't a leg there, then I could theoretically put something on there that looked like it had some kind of, I don't know, armour or something. You could do whatever you want. Whatever you want. Let's have a look. So Games Workshop Stormhawk would be a good one to build. Let me have the Stormhawk. Let me have a look at the Stormhawk. Hang on. What was it? What were we looking at? Stormhawk. That's not what I wanted. Stormhawk. Games Workshop. Images. Oops. Don't know who Wayland Games are. That's not Games Workshop, but never mind. I want some big pictures. Oh yeah, it's that thing. Yeah, they're fun little kits. They're not particularly overcomplicated. Paint them whatever colour. They're nice, good builds. I'll build it. I don't know why people build it with the solid canopy. I'll build it with the clear canopy so you can paint the guy inside. They're fun little projects to build. I don't know what the Forge World thing is. I'm guessing it's a variation on that. But yeah, they're quite good fun. I did the Space Wolves Storm Wolf, which is the long ship that I thought was a brilliant kit. It's like that thing, but with a big long nose. It was only when I started painting it that I realised it looks like a dog's head, like a wolf head, because it's like the engines at the back and this long nose part. And I've been building it for ages before I realised, oh, it's like a dog's head. I didn't realise that. Space Wolves, isn't it? George says, okay, just wanted to pop in and say hello. I've got to get back to editing this video. 15 hours of editing for a 15-minute video seems legit. Yeah, welcome to my world, dude. Yeah, that's how it works. Gaz Vicker says, I want the Pretoria Guard back. I always wanted to do that army as a kid. Hey everyone, can't stay taking my son to see Pikachu. I want to see that. I no interest in Pokemons, but I want to see it. So yeah, the Stormhawk is quite a good little kit. But depending on your budget, if you can go up a little bit though, I do recommend the Storm Wolf. It's a really nice kit. But the Stormhawk is just as good. It's a smaller kit, so it's less expensive. If you're not sure. Next we have to do a thing. What is next? We have the tail. But what we're going to do first, before we do the tail, is we're going to do some sticker giveaways. I need to get some stickers out. 1 second, folks. Not prepared, because I always forget this bit. Now, we do, of course, have one sticker left over from the last show, because I wrote something on the back. So we've got that one there. I need 2 more. Sticker time, sticker time, sticker time. Now, for anybody new who's never seen this before, I'm going to do some sticker giveaways. Now, first and foremost, the most important thing for me to tell you is that I suck at sending these out, as most of you already know. I have a big stash here of stickers that I need to send out to people that have won them over the last, 4 months. They're all stickers that people have won. I will get round to it eventually. I just don't get to the post office very often and I keep forgetting. And the longer I leave it, it's going to cost me about 100 quid to send all these out. But yeah, I need to get a whole mess of stamps. So you will get stickers eventually. It just might take off. So don't panic if you haven't received stickers in 6 months. I know, there's a big pile there. Everybody's waiting. But when you win a sticker, if you do win one, you need to make sure you mail me at my email address, fox@modelmakingguru.com, with your name, your address, and tell me which sticker you've won. If I don't have an email from you, but I've got your sticker in a pile, I'm probably not going to send it because I think it's there by mistake. I need an email to say I need a sticker. And if I've got 5 emails from you, I know you've won a sticker 5 times. I know you're probably going to have 5 stickers or 6. So let's get the special pen of happiness. Where's the pen gone? Where is my special pen? Oh no. Oh dear. Oh, there it is. Yes. Pen of writing happiness. We have 2 blank ones. But we also have this one that I did the other day, which says, that would be an ecumenical matter on the back. So I need to write some words on this one. On this one, I'm going to write SPESS horse. I'll put an E on there just so it doesn't say horse. SPESS horse. And on this one, I shall say SPESS prepare, because we're talking about Space Wolves. SPESS puppet and SPESS hoss. There we go. And that one says, that would be an ecumenical matter. So dead easy. If you want to win one of these, all I'm going to do, I'm going to ask some questions. I need you to give me the answer in chat. Now, of course, as always, the first person to get the answer in chat is the winner. However, don't forget, just because you're first in your chat on your telebox doesn't mean you're first in the actual chat. I get the chat in the order that YouTube receives the comments. So even though you're first on your computer, that's because it's gone from your keyboard to your computer. It's not going any further than that on your telly, on your screen. So don't assume that because you're first on yours, you'll be first in the final chat. So keep that in mind. Now, before we do anything, and while I'm opening my email up, what I need you to do, to make sure there's no lag now between the video and the chat, you need to hit the refresh button on your browser. and then when it's refreshed, drag the slider across to the right-hand side to make sure you're absolutely up to date. I shall open up my emails off camera because you don't need to see people's personal private email details. Where's my keyboard? Doodle-doo-doo-doodle-doo-doo-doo. Trying to do 3 things at once isn't a good idea. Oops, that's what I wanted to do. That's there. I need to do... That's all the wrong buttons. There we go. Open up the emails. Because I did have an email from Scott today. Beep, 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 beep. Do, 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 do. Right, we have 3... Right, we have 3 questions from our lovely friend Scott over at... I said E-Models then. No, we're talking about Scott in Orkney. Got 3 questions from Scott. So, we're going to go through... Now, these will probably be Google jobbies. You'll have to Google them. So you need to make sure your Google foo is at full speed. Are we ready? Okay. So I'm going to give you a second. I'm going to swig a tea while you're refreshing browse. I can't see the chat on... Oh, hang on. Give me a second. Let me move my pad so I can actually see the chat. Because that would be a bit silly if you couldn't, wouldn't it? Right, so... My keyboard there so I can switch between chat and the thing. Right. Okay, we all ready? I'll just have a quick look at the chat to make sure you're all ready. Do. Thy creators, I'm back in time! Right, so, all ready. First question. The first question is rather relevant because as we heard in the chat today, Scott is working to get he's got his own personal hallmark as a jeweller and a silversmith. He's got his own hallmark and he's just working to get that approved, get all the paperwork done and get all the stuff done. So it's a question first of all is about hallmarks. If you don't know what hallmark is, on jewellery you've got the little sort of stamped in little symbols and things on the inside of the jewellery somewhere hidden away. There isn't one on this because this is just cheap crap from Argos. It's not even probably probably tin, probably just like I don't know what metal that is. Cheap crap probably. Yeah, so hallmarks. He says on silver jewellery, the hallmarking will have numbers on it. I'll reword it a bit. It says has numbers on it. For example, 9,2 and 5. So it might have 9,2 and then 5. But what do those numbers mean? Go. So you might see it might say something like 9,2 and then 5. What do those numbers mean? 2 different numbers. What do they refer to? I'll take a roughly the right answer. Do. I didn't know that, but I do now. I need to know what the individual numbers mean, not just generally what do they mean. So this number means something, and this number means something. So each of the numbers, what do they mean? Some Google foo will be required. I don't know numbers, says thy creator. Well done. Afternoon, Zadster. I'll reread the question for Zadster who's just joined us. When you see a hallmark on a piece of silver jewellery, it has 2 numbers. Something often like 9,2 and 5, for example. What do those 2 individual numbers mean? Each number means one thing. What do they mean? Each number means something. What does it mean? I don't think anybody's going to get this one. I need to know it for both numbers though, not just one. I'm going to give it to the print guru, who over the course of 2 answers kind of gets it right. He says, so if the example I gave was 9,2 and then 5, that would mean that 90, what was it now? He said 92.5% of the jewellery would be silver, and the remaining 7.5% or whatever else would be some other metal. He says it means that the piece will be 92.5% silver, and the other 7.5% is usually copper or other metals used to increase the durability of the silver. Print Guru says 92.5 silver, the balance is tin, etc. So yeah, you got the answer right there. So there you go. So well done. So yeah, it tells you 92. I don't know why it's 9,2 and then a separate 5. Why don't you put 92.5? It'll be a lot easier. It's like this thing we said before when people invented words for left and right on a ship and called it port and starboard. Why invent a different way of writing a number when you could just put 92.5? You see what I mean? Why rewrite 92? It's weird. Anyway, so well done, Print Guru. Just send me your name and address and let me know which one do you want. Do you want SPESS horse, SPESS prepare, or that would be an ecumenical matter? Which one would you like? Let me know which one you want. Speedy Create says blip and spemulon. Yes, blip and spemulon. I'm feeling a little hoarse. There you go. Nice one. What you do in your own time on weekends is up to you, mate. Not my concern. Print Guru. So you know what to do by now. You've won a few. Send me an email to fox@modelmakingguru.com with your name, address, and that you want a model making guru sticker, and I will get one off to you. Okay. A lovely horse, says Adster. Right, so that's two to go. So what's the next question? Next question is... Right, so we have a Warhammer question. Everybody ready? Everybody prepare yourselves. Clench all the relevant bits. Right, ready. Warhammer question. Warhammer 40k. Who had a homeworld of Inuit? Go. Whose homeworld was Inuit? My lovely horse running through the fields. That sounds like a... Is that a Weeble and Bob job? I'm hearing it in Weeble and Bob in Weeble voice now. My lovely horse running through the field. Father Ted. Oh, I'm thinking of Weeble and Bob. Although now I've actually got cat face in my head. And the first answer correct is Aterus, Rogel Dawn. Yes, Rogel Dawn's homeworld was Inuit. Again, I don't check these. I'm assuming that's correct. So well done, Aterus. You are the first to get that right. Hang on, chat just jumped. Maybe gone. There we go. Aterus, would you like SPESS prepare, or would you like that would be an ecumenical matter? Which one would you prefer? Cat face, he's got a big cat face and the body of a cat. And I can't sing it all cause of copyright things. Cat face. Prepare, please, says Aterus. Well done. It's another channel you should go and watch. Go and watch everything done by Weeble stuff. So well done. You won yourself another Guru sticker. Send an email, fox@modelmakingguru.com. Name, address, and you've won a sticker. Right, last one, which is, of course, that would be an ecumenical matter. There's a Guru sticker, as always. And the last question. Now, this is a British Army question. I can only go off the information I've got, so I can't give you any more information than I already have. So I can say it's British Army. Here we go. Everybody ready? What does the motto on the Highlanders cap badge mean? Go. Bizarrely, I'm watching Lost again at the minute, and that's where Desmond fought in the Scots Highlanders. What does the motto on the Highlanders cap badge mean? Cat face has got a big... I love that series. Hello, kids. Cat face is brilliant. I know I've got the cat face music in my head that plays in the background. Gaz Vickers says, subject of the English, ha ha ha. I'm sensing a death squad on the way. Freedom, says Paul Di Tommaso. Freedom. Could you repeat the answer, please? Zata says, quanti canicula illa in fenestris est, but that's not actually the thing. And that's something to do with windows and things. There's a moose loose about this house. Arduous fidelis. Not what the actual phrase is. I need to know what it means. Not in Latin. I don't want to know what the Latin phrase is. I need to know what it actually translates as. What does it actually mean? There can only be one, says Paul Di Tommaso. How much is that doggy in the window, says Zadster. Team Inept, of course, says dancing phalanges. Nobody's got it right yet. Nope, that's not right, thy creator. Good day all, says Adrian. Welcome, Adrian. I don't know. To point this back at Scott, because he asked the question, is there more than one Highlands regiment? I don't know. A wibble, a wobble, says God Vickers. I called you God. You're now God, apparently. I'm going to give it 2. I'm going to count down 10, and if I don't get the right answer, I'll give it to somebody who's got it almost right. So I'll count down from 10. 10, 9. Wait, thy creator's now giving out like Ferengi things, I think. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. Right, I shall that great as just copying and pasting. I shall give it to a terrorist who says help the king. It's actually save the king, but help the king will do. That'll do. So a terrorist, well done. You've won yourself another one. So before you send that email, just say send me an email saying you won 2 stickers, and I'll send them both to you. Fluffy Gut says, what did I miss? Just doing all the questions for the sticker giveaway. You missed the sticker giveaways, dude. But then again, you couldn't have done them because you could have got the answers from Scott because they're all questions he asked. So I have to take that into account next time. I must remember that next time. If they're questions from Scott, Fluffy Guts can't take part because they know each other. Right, so thank you for the questions, Scott. Most kind of you. I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, I'll just close my email down because, again, I don't need you guys to see other people's email shenanigans. 1 second. Close that down. Bing-a-ding-a-ding. There we go. Back to chat. A terrorist says, really? Haha. Yeah, so I'll give that one to a terrorist. So well done, everyone who won a sticker. Both of you. Don't forget, like I say, pop me an email. There you go. Now remember, if you want to have a guaranteed sticker in, you can just send me an email with a question and answer to use during that section. And if I use your question and answer, I'll send you a sticker. So there you go. Right, let's have a look at these. So these are now glued. What's happening? 5 o'clock. These are now glued. Now they're nowhere near ready to be sanded down yet. I think I'm going to have to do some sprue on this bit here. But doing sprue on that bit is going to be a right pain in the butt cheeks because I need to keep that shape exactly. It's supposed to be a crisp bit of armour, but it's got this gap. So I'm not happy with that, Games Workshop. Big gap in your nonsense there. However, we can get a look to see how these go on. Because maybe I can glue these on, I don't know, before I do all that. How does this? I'm not even gonna look at the instructions. I'm just gonna randomly fudge these together and see what happens. Is that even gonna? Am I even doing this wrong? I'm doing it wrong, aren't I? It's not even supposed to go on there. There we go. Does that go like that? Am I just? How's it going? Is that even the right? I don't even know what side I'm supposed to be. Let's look at the instructions, shall we? Diddly bomb, diddly bomb, diddly bomb. Diddly bomb, diddly bomb. Diddly and indeed, as you say, bomb. Okay, so this needs to go onto a bit of diorama base anyway. So I probably don't want to particularly glue it onto the bodywork just yet. The bodywork is because it's a vehicle, obviously. Well, technically, it's a vehicle. I don't maybe want to glue that on the right way because I need to make sure it lines up with the terrain piece that goes on the bottom of it, maybe, or am I just making that up? I don't know. Am I just procrastinating? Is there any reason I could not glue that on right now? Apart from it would make getting rid of these seam lines a bit of a pain in the bum. That's going to go there then, isn't it? That one locks on there quite nicely. Am I going to get a... Does he get any kind of shoulder armour? Oh, so he gets a couple of pauldrons. I was about to complain about the big honking seam line there, but he gets a couple of pauldrons, which is cool. There we go. Pauldrons. So I think we'll leave those off for the moment because I'll need to sand those, and they're going to be a bit more tricky to sand if they're in place. Fluffy Guts had a lovely walk with my cat. Weather is cracking today. Do you take your cat for a walk on a lead because if you don't, it would just disappear across the island and attack puffins? Or is it just because you're just one of those cats that likes to be taken for a walk? I take it you can't let the cat out. Well, can you? I don't know. Is it not like the kind of cat you can just open the door, kick it out in the middle of the night and expect it to come back in the morning? Zadster says, looking forward to see how you paint and texture the scales. It's going to be a long time yet. Right now I'm just making this to get it built, and then I'll get it primed, and it'll go in the cabinet probably like till the end of the year. Because this will be a build, I'll be building this to sell it. And I'll do a video series of it, obviously. But at the moment, I'm just working through my stash, anything I can build and get in the cabinet primed, and then I can get rid of the big box sitting in a big pile, because I've got piles and piles of kits and boxes, and they're getting on my nerves now because I'm running out of space. So, yield. So he's more of a dog than a cat. He follows me wherever I go, says Fluffy Guts. You need to be putting pictures of this cat in the boom hut. We like creatures in the boom hut. Creatures are always awesome. So, yes, we need to see pictures of this creature. 34, 33, 35, and 36. Well, there's 36. Let's make a tail. So a bit of tail action. Wait, no, let's rephrase that. 36 is this part of the tail here. I'm not looking forward to painting all the white lightning details on this. And I don't mean white lightning like crap cider you're drinking in a bush shelter. There's a few of you out there think, oh, I know exactly what he means. I mean the lightning emblems, because I remember I went to my local Warhammer store. I was popped into the store. I was helping the manager out because I was painting some of the figures he was putting on display when they launched the Soulstorm or whatever it was set. And I said I'd pop in and help with some painting and stuff. Have I just cut out the wrong part completely? I don't even know what that is I've just cut out. That was totally the wrong part that I just cut out for no reason at all. I think I just cut 53 out thinking it was 35. Oh well, we'll just put that there for now. 35, 36. I want 35. There's 35. Spawn! Yes, I painted some Sigmarines for him. Some of the whatever they are, these golden dudes. I just got some basic. I didn't get much done, but I did some basic bits. But yeah, trying to paint the lightning flashes and hammers on the sigils on the pauldrons is a right pain. 33 and 34. 34. Dude, Dad says it's a Patreon build. Oh. Aside from the live stream from the Sazabi, will you have a series for the build, says Rinks Near. No, that's what Dad's replying to. Yeah, no, not for the Sazabi itself is going to be a Patreon build. I'm building it for George because it's his Patreon reward for being a patron for 12 months. So that series will actually be Patreon exclusive, the actual proper build series, which is why I'm kind of doing the denubbing and stuff as live streams. But I will be doing sort of little 5 or 10 minute build diary videos for non-patrons. But I haven't done any Patreon exclusive stuff for ages. I need to do more stuff for my patrons, really. It's difficult doing Patreon exclusive content because the problem with me is I've only really got one thing on the go at once, aside from, Warhammer Sundays. So if I'm doing one thing as Patreon exclusive, it means I'm doing nothing for anybody else. In an ideal world, I'd have content going up for everybody all the time, but we don't live in an ideal world. And as it's only me, I've not got like a team or anything. There's not like a group of us here. It's just me. There's little old me doing this. There's so much I can do in one day. So it does unfortunately mean if I'm doing Patreon exclusive stuff, aside from little diary things, I can't do any other content. While that's going on, like I say, we'll do little sort of 5 or 10 minute video build diaries, which will just be like a little here's what's been going on kind of videos. And I will obviously still do Warhammer Sundays. Warhammer Sunday. Right, now I've got little nubs on the tail that are actually in the middle of the texture of the scales. It's like, come on, GW, you could make this easier on me. If you didn't do such big honking nubs, this wouldn't be quite so tricky. Tricky, eh? I just loaded a picture of a new Blood Bowl team and they seem to have based on Boom Hut members. There's a lot of jokes could make that, but I won't for fear of losing Boom Hut members. You never know. Maybe they know who I am. Maybe they know who the Boom Hut is. Maybe we're famous. They seem to use pasties as currency, says Adster. Oh, okay. as in Cornish pasties and gravy. Oh yeah, that's definitely based on the Boom Hut. Because all the Boom Hut management team are paid in, like, you know, Greg's products, pasties and things like that. Which gets a bit difficult when some of them are actually not in the UK, but hey, that's not my fault. They want to live in some damn crazy country no one's ever heard of. I don't know. I'm going to try and... Some of these are a right pain. They're right in between scales, and there's no way to actually get to them very well at all. So let's just see if we can smooth them down, and then I can get rid of the nub aside from a little tiny bit. So I'm going to see what I can sand down, re-establish the sort of the groove here between the scales with this scriber, and then for some of it I'm just going to smooth it flat and hope it blends away. Let's get a bit of the extra thin going on. What Si was saying earlier about using extra thin to smooth things away and smooth them down. There we go. Beautiful. That's right, beautiful, Tony. That is a ancient Roman bit of ancient Roman Tamiya extra thin. Smooths it down lovely. Lovely. There we go. That's that one. Got one here. Nubulation. Ah, much better commodity, says JS Idaho. Oh, Cornish pasties are so nice. Proper Cornish pasties. And actually, you know, you go to... And I'm not talking things like the ginsters nonsense you get from petrol stations. Ginsters. Because don't ever buy ginsters, pasties and that kind of stuff. You know, you go to a petrol station or whatever, and they've got the pre-packed, pre-made ginsters, Cornish pasties and meat and potato pasties. Don't buy them. They're rubbish. It's 99% air in there. You get this big pasty like that, and it's mostly pastry, and inside this big pocket this big, and then inside there's a little tiny ball of contents. It's like, and you charge him a couple of quid for that. Get out of it. If I want a Cornish pasty, it's got to be this big. It's got to be that much pastry and then that much filling and just be solid all the way through. And then that is absolute happiness. If I eat a pasty and it doesn't suck all the moisture out of my entire body unless I have a massive cup of tea stood next to it, then it's not doing it right. Now I really want a Cornish pasty. Oh, or meat and potato pasty. And only in Britain, only in Britain, could you have a product which, in most countries, it would be things like you have a lamb curry or a beef hot pot or a chicken this or a turkey that. In Britain, we have meat pasty, meat and potato pasty. What are the ingredients? Meat, potato. What kind of meat? Meat. Yeah, but what kind of meat? It's meat. You don't need to know what kind of meat. It doesn't matter what kind of meat it is. It's just meat. You don't need to be specific with these things. Well, I'm working under my logo again. I do apologise, folks. Let me move my screen around a bit. There we go. Non-specific meat pasties are the best kind of meat pasties. Doesn't matter what meat it is. It's not relevant. Nothing's as good as me mother makes, says Fluffy Guts. Oh, yeah. My mum never made pasties and stuff, but many years ago she went through a phase. She used to make scones. Oh, she used to make scones all the time. They were delish. Then she got a bread maker for a while and used to make bread. That was nice. But yeah, my mum used to make scones, Mama Fox. And they couldn't be beaten. They were delicious. She hasn't made any in decades. It's been like 20 years since she's made any. But yeah, it used to be delish, them things. Scones! That's that bit there. Sand that a little bit. I'm talking about food again, aren't we? God. Don't even know what I'm having for my tea yet. Now, there is a little seam line running down the thing here, down the tail. However, it's kind of exactly on the cusp of those little tiny scales that go between the top scales and the bottom scales. So what I can do, I don't have to worry about it too much. I can very gently just sand it to smooth it off, make it less crispy. Just smooth it a little bit. I don't need to worry about going over it with the seam line tool because it's right on the peak of those little edging scales. So it just looks like part of the scale. So I don't need to really fuss with it too much. Maybe down at this end a little bit. where it's a bit more pronounced. But other than that, I can just get away with, from about there onwards, just sanding it. Just to make it look like there's not like a nice crisp edge on these scales. And there we have. Lovely. Lovely. Brilliant. I like that. That is spot on, that is. Ooh, hello. A bit there I need to get rid of. Okay, that bit's a bit more pronounced. Have at it with the tool. I enjoy making scones, says Snowman. I enjoy eating scones. Now, I was having a conversation the other day with Paul and some others. And they were most amused by my comments about cooking. And I'll explain my stance on cooking. I love food. I mean, we all need it to live, but I love food. Eating is one of my favourite things to do. Unfortunately, nowadays, I'm getting to the point where I can't do it all the time because I've got fat and I have to not eat all the time, and it's torture. As a young lad, I used to be able to eat whatever I wanted and just, you know, wolf stuff down all day long so I'm blue in the face, and then I just eat more stuff. Not anymore. But yeah, I love cooking. I mean, I love eating, but I hate cooking. Because to me, cooking is just a waste of time. It's time that could be spent eating or doing something else more interesting. To me, it's just pushing things around in a container for half an hour, and then I get to put food in my face. I can't be doing my cooking. I hate it. I can't be bothered with it. I don't. Why cook when I can just have someone else do it for me? You know, I can dial a number on my phone and food turns up. Or I can, any cooking I do really basic stuff. You know, I might stick some sausages in the grill or something like that. That's about the most I'll do. I do occasionally make a bolognese. I like doing that because that's just a sticky, stodgy mess. So I don't mind doing that so much because you do get a massive pan of stodge then, and that's kind of worth it. But I won't let anybody else make it because nobody makes it the way I want it. But in terms of cooking, I just find cooking's a waste of time. I'd much rather either somebody else does it or I just warm something up. I will warm things up, or I just dial a number and somebody turns up. But Paul was aghast because Paul likes cooking. He's into his cooking. So I don't even know what the point of going through that I was talking about. I don't even know why I was mentioning that now. I've forgotten anyway. All I'm doing is thinking about food. I need to stop talking about food because it's killing me. Fluffy Gut says, my mother's Jewish, so she never stops cooking. I'll be there in 10 minutes. I'll be there in literally about 5 minutes. Dad, get the car warmed up. Yeah. I'm terrible at cooking because I'm useless at multitasking. Says that's the thing that gets me. If it's something simple like I'm making, say, I'm sticking some sausages in the grill, then I can pop some sausage in the grill. I can stick some chips on because they can take about the same amount of time. And at the same time, I might put some, like, you know, spaghetti oops or something in a pan. Or whatever I'm having with the sausage and chips. And that's fine, because I can kind of coordinate that. But when you start doing stuff where it's like this goes in the oven and that goes on the grill, and then this item takes 20 minutes at 200 degrees, but this item takes 45 minutes at 130 degrees. I'm like, how do I even coordinate this? This is nonsense. I've got a degree in oven science. So that just becomes stressful, and I don't want to do stressful things in my life. I want simple things that aren't stressful. So I don't like cooking. Cooking is nonsense. I'd much rather somebody else do it, and I just eat the food. That's how it should work. If I win millions on the lottery, I'm just hiring a chef, a living chef that just like make me food. What do you want? All the food. Okay, brilliant. Who will learn what I like and make just that. Snowman does loads of cooking. Guns down in. Hey, guns down. Snowman says, love my slow cooker. Well, see, slow cooking is fine. I could do slow cooking because all you do is you chop up some vegetables and then you bugger off for the rest of the day and leave it. You get nice smells all day in the house, and then you can apply it all to your face. Now, Mama Fox does do, when we do slow cooking, it's Mama Fox. I do all the cooking in the house, but Mum does the slow cooking because she does it better than me. So slow cooking I could do because you just blap things in the container and walk away for the rest of the day. That is my kind of cooking. If I can just turn a dial and then magically at some point later on there's things I can put into my mouth in all the mouths on my face, then I'm happy with that kind of cooking. Which where I've got to do thinking and coordinating and balancing this and this, this takes this many degrees and that time and nonsense. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a timing scientist. So yes, can't we do with that? I like cooking, but it's too much work with all the cleaning and such, says Rinks. Well, that's a different thing though. If I don't mind, you know, that side of it. But if the choice is cooking with the follow-up washing up or just phone someone up to bring food round, yeah, you know, my money's going on that one. I put pictures of my slow-cooked pork in the boom hut. Ooh. Quano man's like me. He wants a replicator from Star Trek. Imagine that. Computer, just give me some... I'll be like, computer, give me some big fat-ass beef risotto. There you go. Yes. Now, computer, replicate me a new circulatory system, perhaps. Yeah. William Rayborn's in. Hi, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Thank you for coming in, William. Welcome, welcome. I'm fine, thank you. I'm pretty sure everyone in chat is having a dandy time. We're talking about food again. Of course we are. Don't forget, of course, I will be putting a little video up in the boom hut a bit later when I've finished. It's only like a minute long, but we have billions of bees. All our tree bumblebees are out today, so I thought to take a little shot. I really like our tree bumblebees. They're kind of awesome. When you go in our kitchen, I learned, you see, because here's the story. We've always had like bumblebees, one type or another, living in our kitchen roof. Just for years and years. There's always been bumblebees coming in. Little gap in the wood, they go in and out. And we're like, yeah, bumblebees are fine. They only have little nests. They don't make tons of honey or anything. They don't do any damage. They'll be fine. We'll leave them to it. However, this year, we had loads of bees hovering around the entrance. Clouds of them. And we're like, oh, is this going to be like a honeybee thing now? Because the problem is, if you've got bumblebees, they don't do any damage. They only have like up to maybe 100 individuals in a nest. The nests are really small. They're like this big. And they're kind of harmless. Bumblebees are quite docile. They're not going to attack you unless you wobble the nest. But we saw all these bees around the edge and we're like, great, now we've got honeybees. And the problem with that is, of course, if you've got bumblebees, they don't do any damage. If you've got honeybees, they can cause a lot of damage to your house. Because a typical beehive, honeybee nest, or honeybee hive, can have up to 6 litres of honey in it, or more. So imagine you've got like a particle board ceiling in your kitchen or extension or bathroom or whatever. And just above that, between that and the actual roof space, is a honeybee nest with all the honey oozing out. It's not unknown for ceilings to collapse because you've got thousands of individuals in your hive making all this honey. So it's like, ugh. So at one point we were a bit worried because we thought, are these honeybees? Because we've seen all these bees outside, we never normally see that. You just see one go in every now and then. So we started worrying that we've got a honeybee hive. But the problem is, to get it removed, you could be looking at thousands of pounds. Because the places that you go to would come in, they'd remove the hive, you know, they'd take it somewhere else. But they'd also, like, you know, have to take the roof apart to do it, and then they'd repair the roof for you. There's a few places we looked at. You're looking at thousands of pounds. So we're a bit worried for a while, but then I did some more research. It turns out they're tree bumblebees. And basically, the tree bumblebees themselves, inside the nest is the queen and all the female drones. And they're all just totally like calm and easy, hang around with. The cloud of bees outside are all males, and it's part of the mating ritual. They all float around outside until they die of exhaustion, in the hope that a newborn queen will emerge from the nest and they'll mate with it, and then the queen will go off and find somewhere to set up a new nest. And all the males that hang around outside, they've got no stings. They're completely docile and they don't care about anything other than waiting for the queen to come out. So I've stood underneath the cloud of bees, literally a foot from my head, just sorting out the hose pipe to do the garden, and they're just buzzing around. It's great, fun to watch. So now we're not worried. Now we're like, oh, that's cool. They're harmless bumblebees. They're not going to do any damage to the house. But the best bit is if you go in the kitchen to make a brew, the kettle is right under the ceiling where the bee nest is just above, and you can actually hear them. And I found out it's called bee chatter or nest chatter. Because what you'll hear is a very quiet sort of low hum. Because there's only about maybe 50 to 100 individuals in the nest. They're not very big bumblebee nests. You'll hear this low hum, which is just all the bees doing the bee thing. But you'll also hear these little noises like little tiny noise, and there's like some are high pitch, some are low pitch, but they're just going like that, and it's called bee chatter or hive chatter or nest chatter. And it's just, aside from all the general background hum that's sort of air conditioning the hive, just this is one of the ways they communicate, little noises. And it's great because you sit there making a brew and it sounds really adorable. So yeah, you come downstairs to make a brew and you've got all this, you got morning bees making little noises at you. But they're completely harmless. They won't attack a person at all. The only reason they would actually attack or start getting aggressive is if you shake or wobble or rattle or put any vibration through the nest, which is what sometimes happens if they decide to make a nest in, say, a roof of a shed and you want to go in the shed and get your tools out. But where they are for us, it's in the roof, so they're never going to get any vibration. We'll just let them get on with it. Great. And I did lots of research. I was like, what do we do about them? And basically every single piece of research I did, the answer to what do I do with a bumblebee nest is leave it. Make the most of it. Watch them do what they do and marvel at the wonder of it. Because they're not going to do any harm to your property. There's only about 100 of them in there. They won't attack you. You know, as long as you don't disturb the nest, they'll be absolutely fine and safe. They won't attack kids or pets or anything like that. Just let them get on with it. So we are. Although I think in the autumn we'll probably block it off. Just to make... I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't want honeybees going in there because that's the worst. But I don't think they ever will. We shall see. Tree bees. I like that name. Yes, they're called tree bumblebees. They came into the UK in 2001. They weren't known over here before then. But apparently they're doing really, really well and becoming more and more common because whereas other bees are dying out because they've got very specific environmental needs, tree bees or tree bumblebees are really, they can go anywhere. They literally they tend to nest in small holes in trees about 6 to 8 feet off the ground, hence the name tree bumblebees. But one reason that they're doing really well in the UK as opposed to other countries is because in the UK we're a nation of people that put nesting boxes in our gardens. You know, nesting boxes for small birds. They love nesting boxes, little bird boxes and things like that on our trees and on our kitchen windowsills and stuff. So you get a lot of people phoning up like the basically bee helplines and things like that and bee societies saying we've got a swarm of bees in our bird box, and they'll be like, what? And when they say describe it, they say it's a cloud of bees outside a bird box. They say, yeah, it's not a swarm, and they explain what the tree bees are doing. And it's only these tree bumblebees that do it. So if you see a cloud of bees they're not coming and going. You get 1 or 2 bees that come out. But if you're in the UK and you see a cloud of bees all flying around the nest and never landing, they'll go for hours. They won't land. And they've got like white tails. And they're just in this cloud of bees. You've got tree bumblebees and they are completely harmless. Don't be scared. Just sit and watch and marvel at the wonders of nature. Wow, I'm like Brian Cox, isn't it? Marvel at the wonders of nature. It's brilliant. Billions and billions of these bees living in this hive. When I say billions, I mean like 100. Because they're brilliant. They're a bit like the sun going around the earth. No, that's the wrong way around. I'll shut up. Let's have a look. What's chat doing? My cooking is governed by the washing up it creates. 6 pans and 4 bowls for 1 plate of food. No, says Dave Cardboard. Shove a load of stuff in 1 pan, cook it for an hour and eat for the rest of the week. Yes, I work with that. Paul Di Tomaso's working as usual. Only 3 of them, says Sped. Haha. Ed Bush says, hello all and Fox. I'm just listening to you talk about food while I was cooking butter chicken. Cooking is like model making, it's a process. Nah, to me it's just complicated chemistry and pushing things around in a container. It's too stressful, cooking. Because all the time I'm sitting there watching the food cook, I'm just clamouring to put it in my face. It's just torture for me. I want the food in my face, I don't want it in a pan. All this talk about bees is making me want honey going to go and lick some and sleep. Good night, Fox. Good night, guys, says their creator. Thanks for coming in, though, creator. Take care, matey. I love taking photos of the bees in our garden, says Fluffy Guts. Bees are awesome. I mean, honeybees are awesome, but they're kind of a pain sometimes. And like I say, they can do property damage. But bumblebees, they're not going to attack you. They're kind of awesome. They're dead fat and fluffy. African bees are scary, says Guns Down. Well, yeah, outside of the UK, bees probably... Any Australian bee is probably like a mass murdering killing machine, so I wouldn't go near a bee in Australia. Snowman says he hates wasps. Everybody hates wasps. This is correct. This is normal. Although wasps do carry out a vital pollination thing, I still don't like them and I still want to kill them all. Does the hive chatter ever sound like a voice shouting, "Mine's a coffee with 2, says Quano Man. No, it's normally, "Oh, you're making a brew," it sounds like. And it sounds like it's coming from the living room as well, which is very annoying. I'll tell you what, though. There's been times when I've been in the kitchen, the kettle's on, and you can hear the hive chatter. And it sounds like next door's kids are in the garden. And I have to sit there and think, hang on, is that the kids from next door or is that the bees? Or even then I've been like, am I hearing voices or is that the bees? Because every now and then, it's just random, but every now and then, with the kettle on in the background, it just sounds like actual talk. It sounds like words. It's really weird. Because, you know, it's just little noises, but every now and then it just kind of, confluence of various factors makes it sound like somebody's saying something. It's like listening to a phone conversation from a handset that's not right against your ear. Sometimes it's a bit like the teacher in Charlie Brown. It's quite adorable. It'll be sad when they go. Another hive may come in and live in the same place, it may set up a new nest next year. Another queen. The same hive, the same colony won't ever come back to the same nest. But another queen may set up one. But we've had one there every year for many years, so I assume it's a different queen each time. God knows how much there is actually up there, though. Because obviously the nest gets left behind. So there you go. I'm just putting a little bit of extra thin on that mould line. Now I've smoothed it down. I just want to put a bit of extra thin on there just to soften it and hide it even more. There we go. I've scribed the little skin texture back in there. Fluffy Gut says, hornet stings are so painful. Never been stung, thankfully, by anything. Snowman says spiders. I don't like spiders. I don't mind spiders. I mean, I won't kill a spider. If I see a spider, I'll try and throw it out or rescue it. I had one last night. I went to the bathroom last night and I walked up to the sink and there's a spider in the sink like that trying to get out. I'm like, oh. So I was like, oh, well, hang on a minute. So I had to go and rescue it and throw it out. Really sort of half grown. It wasn't full size. But I was just lucky it was in the sink and not like anywhere else. Right, so we need to make the tail. Spiders in the garden are fine. In the house, nope, says Esther. I like garden spiders. Diadem spiders. I like looking at those. Pascalia Verse has been bitten by a black spider. I think I've ever been bitten. I don't think I've ever been bitten or stung by anything. I think, being honest. How does this... There we go. Okay, now this is beautiful. This is fantastic. The seam line on this tail part, this is beautiful, is basically between 2 rows of scales. So it's jaggedy, which means it's utterly, utterly invisible. Now this is quality jeverage. This is quality design. This is Bandai level design. Masking your seam lines in patterns or textures on the actual surface. Games Workshop, for this you are getting my thumbs up. I can't actually see where I'm supposed to put the glue now. I'm actually struggling to see where the gap is. And I wish they could have done this on the legs somehow a bit better. Because that would have made hiding that seam line even better. That is beautiful. Nothing but the highest of praise for that, dudes. Utterly, utterly hidden. That is fantabulosity. Look at the muscularity. It's fantastic. That is just the dogs, that is. I might have to do some clampy because I haven't got multiple hands. So I can do clampy on that end. Yay, big dot of dust. Fantastic. Let's not use those. Let's see if I can get 2 of these out. Clampy there. Get that bit stucked. Stick at the plastic. There we go, that can go there. Big glue down there. And then on this end, we'll do the same again. Put the glue down the little gap. That is fantastic. That is gorgeous. Now this is something that Games Workshop are often quite, especially with some of the newer kits, not all the time, but they are pretty good at hiding seam lines like this, so there's no cleanup. Not every single model will have it, and sometimes you get a model with, like this one, beautifully hidden seam lines in some places and gash hidden seam lines in other places. And sometimes there's no way around it. You can't get away with it. But sometimes they just do really nicely. Then on other times they put the sprue gate thing on the end of a rifle scope curved lens, says Adster, or even worse, on the Tempesta Scions. Not only did Tempesta Scions have 2-part arms, which makes me never want to build any ever again, and if I ever have to get more Tempesta Scions, I'm going to go on eBay and buy a squad of some dudes that somebody's already made, even if I have to clean them up with glue marks. I don't care. I never want to make them again. But you also on the screen that's on their arm, on the back of their glove, the nub's there, and it's like, oh, it's like that. Imagine a screen with a nub in the middle, but you've got to get rid of the nub in such a way that you don't damage the edge of the screen because you want it to still be obviously... Oh, it's really annoying the way they do that. They lost points for that one. So the tail goes this way. That goes on there, like there to see. Oh, look at that, it's beautiful. That is fantastic. I am so in love with that texture. That texture is fantabulosity. Finest seam lines in all the realms. There we go. That is beautiful. Games Workshop, nothing but massive big fat praise for this tail on this kit. They've clearly put a lot of thought into how that all joins together and where everything goes. But then, let's have a look, how does this end go together? And on this end we have... This end can you take points off because it's not... It fits nicely, but there's no actual peg or hole. It's just a loose fit kind of shenanigans there. That's a bit ropey. That's a bit rubbish. That, you take a point off for that. I'm going to get some fat cement. Just a touch. Now, if you remember from me doing figures before, I'll always use fat cement where there's any kind of weight-bearing or load-bearing structure, just so it sticks first. Because extra thin doesn't really do any kind of stickiness. So if I did that with extra thin, it would fall off every time. So on this, I want to just get it a bit sticky with the fat cement, just so it can stay in place. See that there? Yeah, that's not so great. But then again, it's kind of hard to see. It's not the end of the world. I can get around it with the squishage. It might just look... hopefully it'll just blend in. You won't even notice it. It's one little blight on otherwise beautiful seamline design. Now, I'm being quite handy with the glue here, but once the primer goes on, all these little shiny areas that are obviously where the glue is, they will just vanish. So there we go. That's the tail end. Tail end Charlie. Okay, that's kind of hidden a bit with the squishy, so it's not so bad. So there we go. There's the tail done. And that was amazing. That was amazing, amazing stuff. Guaranteed we've all eaten several spiders while sleeping throughout our lifetime. That is an urban myth. I mean, it happens, obviously. But there's an amusing story. The whole meme of everybody eats 8 spiders in their lifetime. 8 spiders a night or something, 8 spiders a week, something like that. The whole thing was started by a woman who, I think she was a psychologist or something like that. She's a behavioural scientist. And she was doing a study back in, I think, the early 2000s or late 90s. A study into how information spreads on the interwebs. Because the interwebs were still fairly new in those days. And what she did was, to see how something spreads, she made up a fact that didn't otherwise exist, so that she could absolutely trace where it, because she knew she originated it. She thought, I'll make up a fact that doesn't exist anywhere else, that doesn't appear anywhere else on the internet or anywhere, so I can trace it and we'll see how quickly it spreads. And the fact that she made up was that in the course of an average night, on average, you will swallow 8 spiders. She completely made it up, put it on the internet, and it went everywhere. And then it became, not only did it become, not only did she get to watch how it spread on the internet, because she could sort of find instances of it, it then became part of the collective public consciousness off the internet, and it became part of the collective human experience. We all now accept, we almost accept the fact, oh, you swallow like 8 spiders a night. No, apparently she just made it up. In the same way that, when we're, the whole myth of we only use 10% of our brains is complete nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. If you go up to a neurologist and say, oh, well, we only use 10% of our brains, what they'll do is they'll basically beat you senseless, because it's rubbish. It's absolute rubbish. We use all of our brains all the time, always. So, yeah. So, yeah, complete myth, that. But it percolated so well that now we take it as fact. She kind of created a myth by seeing how quickly myths travel on the internet. It's really weird. It's quite funny to think about it. Autak have just launched a honeybee-inspired line of jewellery. Cool. Then you Bumblebee. Bumblebees are more fun, though. Pascal Reverse been bitten by a black spider but didn't turn into Spider-Man. I think you want a refund. Jadster says GW have some amazing designs sometimes. Other times they put the Spruegate. Oh, you've done that one, yeah. Lol. You lot wait to go to sleep, says Quino Man. Right, so I'm not going to glue the tail on now because it doesn't tell me to do that, even though I glued the legs on when it didn't say to do that. What time are we on? 17:41. Muscularity. I suppose what I could do is, for the next 10 minutes, I could assemblate the feet and the texture and terrain that the feet go on a little bit. Don't want to do the head yet, although the head is awesome. That'll take me longer than 10 minutes. So we've done that one. We've still got a foot to apply onto that leg. No, not that leg, the other leg. And that is 30 and 31 and 32. Okay, we can do that. We can do that now. Let's do that now. 30, 31 and 32. I know some people use less than 10% of their brain. Well, yeah. We all know people like that. And we know which Facebook groups they hang out in. What are we doing? 30, 31 and 32. 30, 31. That's 31. It's a little terrain piece. I'm always a bit ropey of these kits that come with like built-in terrain, because especially when it's like got 4 legs. Because like you build a truck and you have 4 wheels, and there's always one wheel that, no matter how much you try and balance it and prepare it and build it correctly, there's always one wheel that doesn't quite contact the ground. You're like, oh, for crying out loud. And similar when you get things with terrain as well. I never quite trust it not to be an evil nightmare of something or other proportions. 30 we want. 30. Yeah. 17:42, tea time. Got to go to the fridge, look at the celery therein, and try to convince myself it looks appetising, says Dave Cardboard. Celery is awesome. I'm actually, because like you said, I'm trying to lose some weight, but I don't do diets because I'm far too lazy to even begin thinking about diets. If I have to do thinking, I'm not interested, basically. I have to think about what I'm eating. Nah. I don't do thinking. I want to go grab face. So what I'm thinking of doing is, I miss snacking. I miss having lunch, because at the moment I'm just trying to have my dinner in the evening. That's it. I'm resisting the urge to snack on just crap all day long. What I might do is get myself just some healthy veggies and stuff. And I love celery. I love snacking on celery. I could quite happily, for my lunch, have like a plate of celery, maybe with some sort of something healthy dip to dip them in, maybe or something like that. But yeah, a plate of celery would do me great at lunchtime, because then I could sit and nibble on them while I'm doing something, watching something on the internet or reading the internet around about lunchtime, and then crack on. That way I'm not starving hungry all day long. But I don't know, maybe I like celery though. But yeah, celery, that'd be nice. like celery. Get, if you want to make it interesting, have a dip of some sort. Could be something, I mean, it can be healthy. Probably idea if you're on some sort of diet, you probably want it to be healthy. Put some kind of dip out of something. What have you got that you can make into something to dip your celery into? You must have something. Because I think for me, it's not so much that I like the food. It's weird to say this, but it's not so much I like the food. It's I like the process of eating. I like the texture and the flavour. So I could just as happily eat celery as I could crisps or chocolate. Because to me, it's about the flavour anyway. But I like the flavour of celery anyway. But it's the texture, it's the crunch, it's the act of eating that I think gives me the most pleasure. So just having something to nibble on doesn't really matter what it is, whether it's a biscuit or a piece of celery. As long as it's something I can enjoy eating. I'd probably be quite happy doing that. I'll have to go to the shop and get some celeries. What else? Other crunchy vegetable things that you can eat raw. Peppers. Mix it in with some... Oh, there you go. Get some sweet peppers. If you go to Aldi, if you've got an Aldi near you, Aldi do those long red sweet peppers. They taste a bit like apples. Get them and chop them up and mix that in with the celery. Oh, that'd be nice. A little bit of some, as long as it's crunchy stuff. Crunchy stuff is the best, because if you're eating salad, if you eat like lettuce and tomato and stuff, it's boring and you get bored and you don't feel like you've eaten it, and you're like, oh, I just want to eat a nice juicy steak. But if you have crunchy stuff that takes some effort to eat, like for example celery, crunchy sweet peppers, then you're getting food, you're getting some nice flavours, but you're getting the crunch and the texture as well, and that's, I think, I can live with that. I can quite happily eat that for a big bowl of that for lunch, and I'd be fine, because I'd be sated. My hunger would be sated. I like that word, sated. And I've had the crunchy food experience, and my brain would be like, yes, we've eaten crunchy things, therefore they're probably made of meat. My brain is that simple. If it's crunchy, it's probably meat or crisps. And it's quite happy about it. It's like, yeah, that's fine. We've done crisps now. Or meat or something like it. I don't know. Don't care what it was. So if you're going to eat salady stuff, go for the crunchy ones. I'm trying to think what else is crunchy. You've got your peppers. Crunchy. Those sweet peppers are really nice. You've got your celery. You could dump some olives in there. That'd be nice. Olives are nice. Get the flavour from there. They're full of flavour. Don't do tomatoes, because tomatoes are just rubbish and made of water. Same with cucumber. Lettuce is a bit la-di-da nonsense. If you want a real challenge, go for cabbage. Ooh, yeah. Just raw cabbage chopped up. Again, it's crunchy. It's the crunch that makes it interesting, even though it's a salad. This is to me anyway. I mean, you might be looking at me, listening to me and thinking, what? It's still rabbit food. What the hell? Nah, make it crunchy and you'll enjoy it more. I think people look at things like salady stuff and think, well, it's just bland and boring and tasteless. It's like, well, no, not if you add the right things to it and give it some nice flavours. Get yourself whatever you make your little salady snack out of. Get yourself a little bit of, a little bit of soy sauce, just a little bit, just to give it the flavour, the MSG flavour. If you're really daring, and you actually do this on camera, if you're really daring, a little tiny drop of fish sauce, because fish sauce is like a super strong flavour and stinks like, I'm not going to tell you what it smells like because I want to monetize this channel, but but then when you add it in and mix it in with other things, it can taste fantastic. There's lots of things you can add to the salad to make it flavourful. I'm hungry now. Tom Rickliff says peanut butter for celery. Hey Tom. Yes, I was thinking that actually, peanut butter, but that's very fatty. Or yum yum sauce, homemade sakura sauce for any veggie. So look, groups for stupid peoples do tell, so we can laugh at them. No, I'll never name and shame. Donna kebab en route for me, giving up on the whole dieting malarkey. Oh, now what kebab? Dave Cobb, or bag of radishes. Oh yeah, radish. Forgot about radishes. Radishes are good for crunchiness. Tom says, glad I could catch you. I'm eating spicy noodles the poor way. Ramen noodle pack, then add sriracha sauce. Hey, you know what I do for poor food? Pack of ramen noodles, add a can of soup. Make a can of soup, or maybe even better, if you want really thick soup. Basically, a pack of ramen noodles, 2 tins of soup, preferably thick soups of some sort. Cook both, add them all together, let it sit for 10 minutes. You get really stodgy noodles with tons of flavour. And if you, depending on the soup, chunks of veg. If you're in the UK, I recommend big soups because they've got loads of chunks. Avocado dip, Fox, says Pascal, with peppers in it. I've never had avocado dip. I don't think I've actually ever had avocado. I make vinaigrette, white wine vinegar, and oily oil dead easy, says Dave Cardboard. Oh yeah. I'm going to try the sushi diet, says Snowman. Sun Gold tomatoes are fantastic. You have to grow them though. Can't get them in the shops. Sprue says hobnobs are crunchy. Yes. Pascal says hummus dip is also nice. Hummus is very nice. Diced apple and orange segments. It's fruit though, isn't it? We're doing veggies. But yeah, you could put apple in with your. You could put apple in at least with your. Can't get my words out. With celery and other things, that might work. Guns Down says bye. Okay, thanks for coming in, dude. That's a very quick bye. Bye. Interzone88 says in as well. We have a problem with feral honeybees in Australia. In spring, they can arrive and try and start a nest in a wall cavity. It happens. You have to get a bee man. Yes, I say before, honeybees can be a pain in the bum. You want to get if you get honeybees, you really want to try and move them in your house, or get someone to come and relocate them. If you get bumblebees, just leave them. But honeybees, you can get honeybee colonies of thousands, and like they can have litres and litres of honey. And it's more just that they damage the wall. They can damage interior walls. Celery deep fried and dipped in chocolate, says Gaz. You missed out the 1.5 litres of butter and lard as well. Ha, making any soup a noodle soup, says Tom. Yeah, exactly. Just adding a pack of ramen to the soup. It makes the ramen more tasty, and if you leave it for 10 minutes, it goes all stodgy. So when you get your chopsticks in there, you have a dod of noodles. I missed anything in chat. Do. I think I missed anything. Right, I think that's all the seam lines on the foots. And on the terrains for the foot. Oh, no, there's one there. Hang on a minute. I'll get this done before we call it quits today. You're getting a full-length show today. But these are rocks, so it doesn't really matter if I've got a little bit of nubbage or anything showing up. So these go together thusly. We have this little fellow here, like this, was it? And then we have this little fellow here, like this. Ooh, that goes together like that. Lovely, lovely. I'm liking that now. That's pretty good, that does. Get some glue in there like that. There we go. That's lovely, that is. Did you like that? Did you like that? My friend Dimner. That goes on there like that. Of course, all the seam lines in this are hidden in the gaps between bricks and stone blocks. Well done, GW. Again, well done. Good girl, good girl. Played like a blinder. Yeah. Bit glue down there. And then the puppy paw goes on top. There's a little tiny nick in one of the bricks. Tiny little nick. And it's supposed to apparently go in there. Something is. I'm not quite sure. Oh, I see. This needs to go in here like this, you see? I'm just going to guess now and make it up. That goes on like that. Oh, I see. It's like a grabby hand. Okay. Right then. That makes sense. Splodge of the fat glue just to aid the stickiness. Stickitude. That goes on there like that. Ooh. Stickitude failed. Squish. Stick your darn thing. Now I'm going to give it a second, because if I put extra thin glue on there right away, it's just going to wash away all the fat glue and it will unstick itself. So give it a second. Squish taculon. And we're going to go in with the extra thins. Squish. Let this seep into the recesses, into the cracks and crevasses. Then we'll give it a little squish, like that. Make the squishing noise. That's the squishing noise. Now that should be enough to hide that seam line now, that gap, as either texture from the skin or a crease in the muscularity. And then this, apparently, does a thing. It goes on, yeah, like this. See, there's lovely. There's lovely. I think. Something. I don't know. I don't understand. Actually, hang on. Oh, issues. Technical difficulties. How is this supposed to go on here now like this now? Now then, no, don't do Jimmy Savile impressions. That's probably a bad idea. This is supposed to go in a way that looks like something, but I'm not quite sure how. Medic. Brain. How is this? How is it even supposed to attach? I'm not sure I know. Also, I'm talking like James Mason. I'm James Mason. How is... What are you talking about, Willis? This is making no sense at all. How is that? What? There's going to be a way to do this, and I'm just being fudged and fumbly. Right, that needs to go like that. And then how does that fit on top of... This is making no sense. Am I being exceptionally dim here or something? This needs to... Am I supposed to glue that first bit on first and the next bit on after and not... Am I supposed to... Yeah. Was I not supposed to glue the foot onto the... There we go. Discombobulation complete. That goes on there. There we go. Simpletons. Honestly, Fox, you are special sometimes. You know, if only they laid out in the instructions exactly how it's supposed to... Oh, they did. Never mind. Never mind. Next time, I'll understand and I'll read it right. Okay, GW, I get the message. I'll do it the way you said next time. Fine. Fine. You and your autocratic instruction order nonsense. Now, so what we do there is we get that on. Let's get it on. Squish that, because that's a squishy bit where I can sand the glue back later. So I'm going to put excess glue on this bit here. Squishing. That just reminded me of the Eddie Izzard Mr. Dog sketch. James Mason. I've not listened to Eddie Izzard for a long, long time. I used to love Eddie Izzard until I went to one of his gigs. I've only been to see him live once. And at the time, he was being accused of just recycling old material in all of his gigs. And there's big who's like, yeah, you're just doing all the old stuff again. You pay money to go and see him, but if you know any of his work, you'll have seen it all before. But I've been listening to his, I'd seen his stuff before, and I was like, yeah, I love Eddie Izzard. So I went to see a concert. It was in Manchester. And he spent the first 10 minutes talking about, quite seriously, actually, not doing silly gigs, but he spent the first 10 minutes responding to the criticisms that he'd had in the press about how he's just recycling materials and saying, I don't do that, there'll always be some things that people want to hear about because there's some popular material, but I don't recycle my materials. And then for the next 40 minutes, or next hour and a half, 2 hours, he just went through all his old skits, like, Death Star Canteen, the Inquisition, and like, oh, hang on, you are recycling old stuff, because these are all your well-known, So he literally spent 10 minutes railing against the criticism saying he recycles stuff, and then spent 2 hours recycling stuff. And I'm like, oh, well, that's just nonsense. So, yeah, that was money well spent on watching Eddie Izzard do 10 minutes of original stuff that wasn't funny, and then 2 hours of, I've heard all this before. Most annoying. I do like him, though. You'll need a tray. Do they have a flag? Let's have a look. Tom Radcliffe says, what's it going to be? Hang on, I'll tell you in a minute when I don't have to hold this like this. If you mean what this build's going to be. I've gone a bit heavy with the glue there just because I want to fill in the big massive panel gap. Now I can't quite get in there to sand it like I was planning to originally. What I can do is squish it. There's a big panel gap there, but I can squish it now. And then while the plastic is still slightly squidgy, blow on it, while it's still slightly squidgy, I can soften it back with more extra thin, because I might not be able to get in. Now I've got the texture terrain on there as well. I can't really get my sanding stick in there to get rid of this bleb of glue that's been introduced when I did the squidgy. So if I just let it squidge and then I can get a word out, reactivate the glue and squidge it back again, which is sometimes you can do, and then it just looks like a line of the skin texture. And although it looks a bit terrible because I've got glue everywhere on this bit right now, it's fine, because once it's got primer on, that will all vanish and disappear. If I was using, say, Humbrol Poly or Revell Contact glue, that would be a write-off if I had that much glue all over the place, because it'd be big blobs of glue. I'd have to do so much sanding just to dump it. But with extra thin, if you get some glue on the surface, it just flashes off. And as long as you don't touch it, you can either leave it and it'll disappear when you sand it, when you prime it, or if there's a little bit of texture left, you can just sand it back. It's absolutely fine. So that is an leg. I'm going over time, so I'm going to have a quick look at chat and then we'll call it today's episode, because I'm in overtime now. Zasta says, I'd love to have Games Workshop's modelling software and some talent, obviously. You can probably get a nice cheap copy or free of 3D Studio Max, which is, about 20 years ago, I managed to somehow wangle a copy of 3D Studio Max, which is proper 3D modelling software, and I got it free. It was cracked, but it was kind of not intuitive, but you got there eventually. You can probably get old copies of that free now, download. Now, I don't mean illegal copies. I mean, you can probably get cheap copies of it, modern versions. There's also the Google one, the free one, which I can't remember what it's called. I think GW used ZBrush to actually sculpt, says Fraser Davis. I suppose they have a library of textures and texturing plugins for it, probably. It's upside down and backwards from the port side, says Sprugloo. That's a shame, but I do think it's funny. That's like, this is our leader, Mr. Dog. Centurion, come here. Yeah, it is hilariously funny. It's just, I think, just that one disappointment many, many years ago. I was like, yeah, I can't take that seriously now. But his stuff is still hilarious. Blender is free, says Quanaman. There you go, Blender's quite good. Gross says, I have some chicken in the oven. I shall add some potato and beans. That is my cooking limit. There you go. Zad says, I already have 3ds Max. I learned it from the artists at Team 17 when I worked there. Way to name drop. Kick ass. We've got a few members that work in video games. If you've got 3D Studio Max, use that. Many, many years ago, we're going back to like 2002-3, one of my many started and failed graphic novel projects that never actually came to anything. I started a graphic novel, but I really couldn't be bothered. It was set in a sort of fictitious modern day American, sort of 70s to modern day American setting. And I really couldn't be bothered redrawing buildings and 1970s cars, American cars, all the time. It was pain in the bum. So what I did was, and locations. So what I did was, although I was going to draw the characters, I actually built sets. So one of the sets was a bar. I built the bar with all the bottles and stuff, and all the textures and table. And then what I would do is just render the background, and then draw the characters over the top. So I wouldn't have to keep drawing the backgrounds. And in some cases, there were like street scenes with cars. So I'd render the car, build the car. Well, I got a lot of assets from Turbo Squid back in the day, American muscle cars and stuff. So I could do like a street scene. But all I would actually draw is the main character. The rest of it we rendered in. I had a plugin at the time. This is going back 20 years. It was dead primitive. A cell outline kind of plugin, so it would render the outline of the objects and things, and then you could paint. So I still hand paint it, but all the outlines would be drawn because I didn't want to have to draw a car 12 times. That was a right pain. I've designed quite a few product enclosures. I'm pretty reasonable at the engineering stuff. Analog naturalistic stuff, not so much. Anyway, right. Yes, so what we're going to do, I shall leave it there. I need to let all this stuff dry now anyway. I shall leave it there. I'll probably crack on with this a bit later on anyway, and I'll have some more done by next week. Maybe, or maybe not. We shall see. Don't forget, as always, Chris over at Gross Models, who's in the chat right now, he does his Warhammer thing at 8 PM on a Sunday after mine. It's his Warhamster, the late show. He's working on his Mega Knobs, and he's not using any brush like that at all tonight. None of those. He's using lots of nice small brushes. But yes, you can use. Hopefully, as well, he's going to use some base brushes. Chris, well, you only use your base brushes like that. Really good for characters and figures. Get some base brushes going. Yeah, go and watch Chris's stuff. I might be there to join in the chat. I might be having a late dinner. I don't know yet. I'll pop along if I can in the chat. I'll see you there. Don't forget, as always, before we wrap up, my usual end spiel. If you'd like to help support this channel, I do this for a living. I depend on my patrons, my Patreon supporters, 100%. Well, let's say 90% and 10% of the bit I get off YouTube. I depend on my patrons for my income to keep me doing this. If you'd like to help support this channel and keep this channel going and keep me doing this day in, day out, then please do go to my Patreon page, patreon.com/modelmakingguru. Go and have a look and do consider helping support this channel. You can do anything from $1 upwards, whatever you can afford, whatever you want to give. It's absolutely brilliant if you can. Anything you can do to support. If you can't, though, don't panic. If you don't want to do that, if you can't do that, don't panic. You can support me in a number of ways by either just letting adverts on my videos play. I get a little tiny bit of income. I do also have a merchandise store and an Amazon store, affiliate store, where you can buy either merchandise. I've only got a few things in there for now, but it should be something under the video. There'll be a merch bar there. Click on that to see lots more than's on that merch bar. And also I have an Amazon store. If you need to pick up some, model making tools and kit and stuff off Amazon, if you're going onto Amazon to buy some glue or some nippers or whatever, before you go and have a look at my Amazon store. If they're in my store, use that link. It doesn't cost you any more. It doesn't make any difference to you if you're in the UK. It makes no difference at all. But I get a little bit of income from that. And last of all, there was something else I was going to say. Nope, can't remember it. Anyway, yes, that's going to do us. So thank you very much for watching. I shall see you all. I'll see you obviously next Sunday for the next Warhammer Sunday. I'll probably do some more denubbing streaming for the Sazabi over the course of this week. But I need to try and get it done. I only get a little bit done during the stream. I just need to sit down and crack it on and get it done. We are also thinking of doing, or George did mention about doing a group build for Sazabi in the Boom Hut, which is absolutely brilliant. So if you want to pop along, I've not done anything official on there yet. I'll have a chat with you later on, George, see if we can sort something out. Or if you just want to run off and do it, that's fine. But well, maybe if you've got a Sazabi in your stash, why not join in and build yours at the same time? Mine will take months, yours will take like a week, because I take forever. So there you go. But that's going to do us. So thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves. I shall get ready to press the buttons, and this week I'll try and press all the right buttons in all the right order. Yeah. So do go along and watch Chris's thing later on. Don't forget, me, Chris, and Ted will be on the eModels live stream on Monday night as well, 9 PM on eModels channel as always. So go and check that out. But until next time, it just remains for me to say thank you very much for watching. Go take care of yourselves. Go be awesome. You there. You there. You look at that eye as well. Both eyes. Go be awesome. Go make something awesome. And until next time, adios, amoebas. Bye. Hang on, can't find the button. Do you know, that all went a bit wrong. I couldn't find the damn button. Right, I'll see you all next week. Bye.